sounds like it's the time to kick it off for the first ever Fealty Gaming Podcast. That's right, we're going to be coming at you here with the first ever podcast. Going to be talking about games, going to be talking about anything and everything. The notifications are on mute for the time of this podcast, so if you hit that follow, if you hit that host, if you hit all that stuff, it's going to be muted. But let's get on into a big thanks to BeardedCorvus here, switching the scene, hitting the full screen there. Golly gosh, we're here with BeardedCorvus. Check out his channel. We're going to be doing the podcast thing. There he is. Hopefully it's coming through. Yeah, okay, good. It's coming through. Nice. So, for those that are new to the channel, the idea of this is we're going to just talk about gaming. We're going to learn about Bearded here. We're going to learn about the games that he's played, his journey in gaming, and really all about him. So I guess to start it off, let's start off with where you started in gaming. What was your first game that you loved?
I mean, like I remember you going all the way back to the SNES, the NES and everything like that. Like I had Nintendo, Duck Hunt, Mario, all that kind of stuff.
Duck Hunt.
But my first real like game that I was like, I have to play this was, and I got it for Christmas. I got a Nintendo 64 with Mario 64.
Wow.
And like that was my thing. Like me and my buddy that lived right down the street would come down, like he would be down like every day. We would play it. It was just because back then it was like that blew my mind of the graphic quality. And then obviously you go back now, you look at it, and it's like it's extremely blocky and everything like that. But it's like it blew, like the fact that I could rotate the camera around and there were secrets and there were edges blew my mind. It was like I was hooked on Mario at that.
Yeah, that was like one of the first times where kind of like the 3D world started being put into games. I mean, in the NES, we did have, it was just like top-down views and everything. And then Super Nintendo had some of it, I guess, with like Star Fox coming out. That was pretty amazing, But like, the N64 really took it. I mean, especially with like GoldenEye,
Oh, yeah. I loved me some GoldenEye too. Like I mean, it had the multiplayer maps memorized and
all the vent shifts.
Yep. and it was, and see, that's what I remember being when thinking about nowadays and like DLC stuff and everything like that. And then I think back, GoldenEye is generally my go-to example of you got the entire, well, I mean, back then you always got the entire game, but it was like the big head mode, the paintball mode, everything. Like you had to do stuff to unlock it. Like that was the replay value for me, was trying to get those specific times to complete the missions.
Yeah.
To be able to have all that extra fun stuff in the game, not just here's $5 or here's X amount. I now have it. So it was back then. But yeah, that and Zelda, like once Ocarina of Time came out, that was that was another thing about me. It was game over, because that was my first like open world game, I guess you could say. So I loved it, just being able to run around, do whatever I wanted. You could almost go to any temple at any time you wanted, kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
It was just like you had to learn where you could and could not go off your own accord. So
and then you get lost too. Like I remember when I played Ocarina of Time, like if you didn't really pay attention to the story, you'd have no clue where you needed to go next, and it wouldn't, there was no like missions or anything. So you'd be just walking around like until something would happen. You know?
It was just like, okay, you had to pay attention. Like you said, you had to pay attention to the dialogue and everything like that. And like, okay, well, you needed Zoras. If you don't know what a Zora was at that time, it's like, what the hell is this? What is a Zora? Where do I find one? And it's like, all right, well, you learn that they're, in the water. So, okay, go to find any kind of water you can to see if that's where you're supposed to go. I
And there was
love.
no internet too for
Yeah,
it. Like
exactly. Yeah.
you couldn't just like go and Google like, all right, where's
Mhm.
this thing? What's that? You'd have to get what was it, the Nintendo Power books, like with
Yep.
like the
I
explanations.
um
You probably
I
have one.
still have because they actually came out. That's also when you had like unofficial, official unofficial guidebooks you could buy.
Hmm.
And I have one for Zelda. I have one for Diddy Kong Racing.
Oh
I
wow.
have one for. I think I had one for Mario.
Hmm.
It was, and it was like it gave you a walkthrough, and it gave you all the secrets and everything like that. And I was just like, yeah, you had to buy that stuff, or you actually had to call the Nintendo. What was it?
Oh, the helpline. That's
The helpline.
right.
Yeah, yeah. It was like
Yeah.
the Nintendo helpline or Power helpline or something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember
Yep.
it did
Yep.
have it had like some name to it. It was like
Hmm.
I think it was like the Nintendo Masters or something.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Hmm.
Oh, let me see if I can find that online. Nintendo help
And
line.
it was actually going for a lot longer than I thought. Like I want to say it only actually shut down. Oh, when did it? I mean, here not that long ago. Like you would think it ended in like 2000, essentially the age of the internet. But I want to say it actually stayed open a lot longer than I was thinking.
Yeah, I think it actually might actually still be a thing because I just looked up
Really?
Nintendo helpline. Yeah, let me
Hmm.
pull it up here. Website. There we go. Yeah, so I googled it, and there's a number, but I think that that might just be for customer service right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
But yeah, see it
But
another.
yeah, it was.
That's true though. Like you had to call it in, you'd had to
Hmm.
figure it out, or you had to have like a friend that knew this stuff. Like even like you
Yep.
mentioned, like the big heads in Goldeneye,
Hmm.
to find out that you could even do that. Like it was you found out from a friend that found out from somebody who knew somebody, you
Yeah,
know,
exactly.
and
Yeah.
everybody would come over, and it was like a team effort to like
Hmm.
unlock this thing, and it was
Yeah.
so much fun. Nowadays you find it out in like 2 seconds. It's online. Even like with Fortnite, you find out all this stuff online. Where's this thing hidden in the map?
Hmm. Hmm.
The journey of like the exploration isn't there. But I guess it's not a bad thing though. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I mean it's this generations of it and everything like
Yeah.
that, and of like YouTube walkthroughs, and I mean
Hmm.
that I use YouTube walkthroughs depending on the game
Oh
and
yeah.
everything, like that, and it's just like
Well, we used the
uh,
books back in the day too.
yeah,
Like
exactly, yeah, yeah.
you couldn't play an RPG without like I would
Oh
have like the
God.
books for like Legend of Legaia, an old school
Hmm.
RPG, and it would give you the heads up like this boss. Make sure you're wearing this like defensive item for like against water or something,
Yep, yep.
and then you'd go into that fight and you were like ready to go. But if you didn't use it, you were dying left and right. Then we
Oh
also
yeah.
had. Did you ever use what was it, Game Shark? The
Oh yeah, Game Shark, and then Game Genie.
Game Genie. Yep.
Yeah, you had in
And it was legal. Like this
it
wasn't
it
like
was
an
it
illegal
was
thing. Like it would like for those who don't know, like this thing would pretty much hack the game
yeah.
and give you god mode and stuff. Like
Yeah, it came with like a booklet that you could,
hmm.
and it was a set of, and it was a lot of games it would work with, but
Yeah.
you could put in a code in the Game Genie or Game Shark, whichever one you had,
Hmm.
um,
I think
and it
Game
would
Shark was like PlayStation. Game Genie was
Genie.
like Nintendo.
Yeah, and you would put in a code, and it was exactly like it was that generation's cheat code before,
Hmm.
you know when some games didn't have cheat codes, it would give you infinite lives or like all the weapons and armor upgrades, whatever you wanted, kind of thing. And it was, and it hooked on to the physical cartridge
Yeah,
because
I
I
got a
remember
picture of it up right now.
I remember doing that with the old. Oh yeah, Game Shark was for, yeah, okay. Game Shark was PlayStation and stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh
Genie.
yeah, this one here, this was the PlayStation one. It would go in the memory card slot.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That was so cool. Look at the USB cable, my goodness.
Yeah.
You'd get
Yeah.
the thing for the computer. Oh man. Oh, there's GoldenEye with the Gameshark there.
Yeah. Game Genie is what because I was back then I was a Nintendo. And like I never really did much of PlayStation.
Hmm.
Like I never really got into it.
I was in on PlayStation. I
Yeah,
was
there you go. Game Genie with that
yeah.
little triangle piece that would, yep,
I think Game Genie became Game Shark because this is like
that
like
wouldn't surprise me.
Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is an NES Super NES cartridge there. Golly,
Good night.
is that a Game Boy one? Yeah,
Really?
Game
Did it?
Boy. Yeah, Game
Really?
Genie.
Oh,
Wow,
I
that is
actually
gigantic.
did not know that. Actually, someplace I think my sister may have it. My middle sister may have it. We actually still have our old original Game Boy, like the one that's not backlit. You had to, if you
Hmm.
took it on road trips, you had to play it by, either the light in the car or
Hmm.
as you pass street lights kind of thing. You could see what
Yeah.
you were doing.
You'd get that split second of viewage
Yep,
of the game, like, all right, now I know where I am. Cool.
exactly.
I
But
had
yeah.
because like the original Game Boy, a lot of people don't know like how amazing it was that it had
It
like
was
a
great.
USB output, and it
Hmm.
would come with like a little light attachment, and then it
Yeah,
would go off the batteries.
it you could get so many attachments for it, and it
Mm-hmm.
was and like I said, my sister, I think they when they moved out of the house into their own,
Mm-hmm.
we found it kind of thing, doing
Yeah, when
garage
you getting all
sales
the
or
stuff
something.
together. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 and it actually still works. Like
Oh
it
yeah.
works fine, and we had Mario, Tetris. What else did we had for it? We had a couple of games, but yeah, it was. I remember doing Mario and Tetris on it, and no backlight, no nothing,
Mm-hmm.
and it was great. And the fact that it still worked, like I think it had batteries that had been sitting in it, so kind of just cleaned out
Oh
all the
yeah.
corrosion and everything, but still worked perfectly.
That's amazing
As,
technology.
oh
You know.
yeah, that's like I feel like the original Game Boys are like the Nokia phone of gaming kind of thing. Like that thing
Mm-hmm.
will work no matter what.
You'll always be playing Snake.
Yeah,
Always be playing Snake on
exactly.
that.
Yeah.
It's so true. I actually had the original Game Boy, but I had a carrying case that was the shape of the original Game Boy, and it was
Okay.
gigantic. I had all my games and stuff in it. I
Mhm.
even had for the original Game Boy, I had the little printer for it, so you can
Oh
like get the
yeah.
printer, and it came with like a camera that had an
That
attachment.
yeah, I've
Crazy.
seen pictures of it as like the original selfie meme kind of thing of that, and it was such horrible quality. But the fact that they had
Oh
that
yeah,
was great.
I'm popping up a picture of it right now.
Mm-hmm.
My goodness, y'all. This is what we lived with back in the day right
Yep.
here.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, it had some sick games. Like you can even take a picture of your face with that camera
Yep.
and then
Yep.
add your face to the characters that you were like playing as and everything, and it
Mm-hmm.
would animate it for you, everything. And then there's the
Let's see
printer.
what other. Yeah, we had the case that we had for it was it was a lot longer. Like uh it was like a hard plastic carrying case. And
Hmm.
let's see here.
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
googling it now. Oh, there it is. That's it. That's my carrying case right there.
let's see, mine was mine didn't look like that. Mine was more just like a rectangle hard gray carrying case kind of thing.
Ah.
It was
Oh,
probably
like
some,
maybe this one here.
probably some off-brand, accessory kind of thing. Yes, that right there. Yep. That's the one that I had. And we still have it. That's what it still sits in. And it's
Yeah,
great. It works.
it's amazing. Did you ever? Oh wow, look at this Game Boy. This was the Game Boy Advance. Wow, it was like the first color screen on it.
never had the Game Boy Advance. Did went straight from that to Game Gear
Oh gosh, I
by
loved Game Gear.
um who did Game
Oh,
Gear?
I just pulled up the Game Gear because it was
Oh,
so amazing.
it was.
Six
I
AA batteries though.
yeah,
That was rough about that. You know.
6 AA batteries that lasted for like 3 hours,
Yeah.
and it's like boom, that's it. That's all you're getting.
But I mean, the Game Gear though came out. It was around the same time
Sega.
as the
Yeah.
original like Game Boy,
Hmm.
and it was a color screen, great sound on it. Like it was amazing. I used to
Yeah. Oh
play
yeah.
that for hours. Like I was in the Cub Scouts,
Mhm.
and
Oh yeah, me too.
yeah, like my mom, they'd have meetings like once a week, so you'd be bored. You're stuck there because your parents can't leave you at home and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I'd be playing like Echo the Dolphin and stuff,
Echo.
like
Oh
just
god,
going
yeah.
ham for hours on that. And I'd have like 24 batteries with me as backup to just
Hmm.
go through them. And oh, their meetings was like, oh, it was terrible.
I had
Golly.
I had Sonic games. I had Columns.
Oh,
Columns. Yeah.
columns, yeah. I've been playing Lumines lately. Have you
Oh
ever seen
really?
that game?
I've seen a video of it on YouTube. I haven't looked into getting it or anything like that, but
Definitely. It's like $15. I'll put up a picture of it.
hmm.
It's a lot like columns, but you got to match in like square shapes, squares and
Okay.
rectangles. You
Hmm.
know, and then once you match them, like it'll clear them out and stuff. But yeah,
Okay.
columns, man, columns was gaming back in the
It
day.
was. It was. I mean, you had to be on your toes eventually for that
Mhm.
thing.
Mhm. I remember when
Absolutely.
Tetris even came out first.
Yeah.
Even my parents were playing that game. You
Yeah.
know, like my
They
dad, he'd be like, "Leave me alone. I'm
yeah.
Tetrising."
Tetris. Yeah, they actually still have apparently like Tetris and stuff like that. There's still like tournaments for it.
Oh yeah, they're coming out with
And
a new game soon. I think.
really,
Yeah, I think like Tetris Legacy or something.
I'll have to look at that. But yeah, I've watched one of the like the videos on YouTube and everything like that of it, and these guys that they are so precise on where they're placing things. Like you think that the rows start to stack up, but like 2 moves later, they have the entire thing cleared out. I'm just like, no,
Yeah.
not not me. I was like, left, right, center, left, right. Yep, game over. All right.
Then it starts getting ahead of you, and like you're just
Yeah.
like fighting for your life at that point.
Yeah, you're just like, I just want a straight, you either want a cube or just a stick. Like you just want, yeah, I don't want
Oh
the
yeah,
L,
you
I don't
need the
want the
long
Z.
piece.
Yeah, I just want the long piece. That's all. For the love of everything, give me a long piece.
What is so? It's Tetris Effect. I've got a video of it up right now,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not showing any gameplay. Try and skip ahead here.
It's
I think this is
very
just the backgrounds. Oh, there we
colorful.
go. Yeah.
Oh, even
Yeah, oh, there we go. Now there's some gameplay. That is pretty.
that's some trippy.
Yeah, that's like, that's like, you're gonna need to
Mm-hmm.
be on something to be able to handle that.
Mm-hmm. Good night.
Yeah, it's not much gameplay there, but yeah, that's pretty stunning though.
Yeah,
I
I'll
I
have to
had
look at
seen
that.
a video of a dude playing that game, but in VR, and he was like an old school like Tetris like king,
Mm-hmm.
and he was going ham in some VR on it. But it didn't really show the gameplay in that either. But
Mm-hmm.
I'll be playing that for sure. I've lost so many hours of my life to that game.
Definitely, definitely.
I've had
It's
that song stuck in my head forever. The dung 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 like washing dishes. It pops into your head.
Yep.
Like, damn it, not again.
Oh yeah. It,
Golly, Tetris, man.
there's a remix of the Tetris song. It's like done to a hip hop beat kind of thing, and it's
Mhm.
actually really good. I'll have to see if I can't find it someplace.
I'm sure that video there probably has some crazy music on it too. I wonder
Oh
if
yeah.
they're gonna license like the old songs and whatnot to put into it.
No,
It,
yeah,
it
I
would
hope
make a
so.
lot of sense. It probably so expensive though to license those songs nowadays.
Hmm.
Someone probably owns the rights to it, and they're like, "Oh,
Probably.
hey, you can use it." $1 million. You know,
Yeah.
just a cool mill, you know.
Cool. Yeah, exactly.
Enjoy our songs, and then every time someone downloads DLC, another cool mill. There you go. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
because you've updated the property to
Oh,
it.
good night, dude. That would be. Oof.
I wonder how much these gaming companies pay on things like that. Like, I wonder if, like, like if you're making a new game, you hire a composer to write the score for
Mm-hmm.
it or something. That I wonder if that's cheaper than it is to license an old game and utilize the music from the old game, like with the new Sonic game that had come out.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
they didn't really have like the original songs for it, but they
Mm-hmm.
had like similar new ones. So I really wonder what the cost would be on that. That'd be crazy.
I don't know. That would be. I mean, 'cause I mean, if you, yeah, and that's yeah. I can't even imagine how much it would. I don't even want to know how much something
I
like that is.
Whenever I watch like Conan, he always mentions like
Mhm.
like, oh no, don't sing any more of that song. That's gonna cost like $7,000. Yeah.
Yeah, you're allowed like 5 to 10 seconds or something like that, like 7 seconds of a song before you have to start paying royalties on it. And
Mm-hmm. And that was
Mhm.
all because of hip hop too.
Yep.
Even hip hop started sampling music, and then there was
Yeah,
all
yeah.
the hoopla of like, well, what's the right amount? What's the legal amount? How much should it
Yep.
cost? What's the ownership? And luckily because of hip hop, we can at least use 7 seconds, which I don't
Yeah.
even. I think it should be like just use it. Like,
Yeah, just
what's
I
the
mean,
point? Make something cool. Like as long as you're
yeah,
not trying to
it's
poop on it.
yeah,
Like
as long as you're not literally basically copying and pasting and
yeah.
then, pitch shifting it, you know, one octave and then releasing it as your own,
Yeah.
then yeah, be like if you like my song and you want to remix it kind of thing, like cool, yeah,
Yeah, why not?
do what you can do. I mean, very well maybe better that way. I don't know.
I think people get scared. They're like, well, what if
Mhm.
their version's better than mine and then my
Like
version gets forgotten?
that's the thing. Like if a better version of something I made comes about, great. That means somebody liked it enough
Hmm.
or was like, hey, here's this cool idea. You know, this is what I can bring to the table to it and
Yeah.
makes it better. Like more power to you. You're like, go for it.
Yeah, just don't copy strike people
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
it.
Don't copy strike people for doing a playthrough of your product and wanting to get your product out there to other
Oh yeah.
people.
It is really amazing though. I think Twitch and like the gaming
Hmm.
community, like it really is one of the first sectors of like entertainment that's kind of like, all right, well, we've created this thing, but have at it. Do with it as you will. And really there's very few games that have fetters on it if you think about it,
Yeah.
where I mean we could take a game and do whatever we want with it. We could utilize the music from it, the sound effects, the assets, everything.
Yeah, and unfortunately, like I mean, it's a good thing and a bad thing as of right now because we could do all that stuff right now, but unfortunately, because it's also so new, people don't know what to make of it yet.
Yeah.
Like it's still uh like online entertainment, like YouTubers and stuff like that are still, and I think since YouTube's even since been around for so long, they're still just now starting to get recognized as a legitimate
Entertainment place.
entertainment platform. Whereas Twitch is still gaming, like all of
Oh
this
yeah.
is still so brand new. I it's I think it's still looked at as it's a hobby. It's
Mhm.
something, you know, high school kids or whatever do and
Yeah.
let them just play in the corner kind of thing. Like we're over here eating glue, like that's what we're doing, and nobody takes it quite so serious yet. And
Yeah.
it's something's gonna give where it's going to be. Like something
Mhm.
it's either gonna be a great thing or a bad thing that is going to make everybody else recognize Twitch as a
Yeah.
legitimate
Good or
thing.
bad.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully good. I mean,
Yeah.
with as popular as Ninja has gotten and stuff like that. Like I saw Ninja was on like Good Morning America or something like that.
Really?
It was something like he
Wow.
was on, with as big as BR platforms have gotten, like Ninja and Shroud and everybody like that. But yeah, some obviously that's now becoming more people are
Oh,
starting to recognize it, but
yeah,
it's still kind of
CNBC,
yeah.
that's like a legitimate source
Hmm.
there.
The fact that
Yeah,
it's
he
free to
did.
play
CNBC.
is
I'm
super
gonna
huge,
show a
and it's
video
already
really
across
quick.
all of the platforms. Your
Yeah.
Xbox,
Look at this.
PlayStation, and PC. They just released their mobile version on iOS,
That's
which is very
wild.
difficult to get done. And not to mention, I think that there's rumors.
Really, I mean, kudos to him. I mean, look at him in this video. I mean,
Hmm.
yeah, okay, he's wearing a sweater, he's got the blue hair and stuff, but, he talks so intelligently, so calmly. I think
Yeah,
he really
yeah,
gives a good face to the platform. Like, yeah, all right, he did mess up, once,
yeah, a little
you
bit, but
know, that was unfortunate, but
yeah,
I
it's
think
on
he's a good
Luckers.
face. He's definitely, I think, gotten a lot farther
Hmm.
in the direction of taking us to somewhere good.
Yeah.
There's been others, like even the guy who actually inspired me to start streaming was a streamer named Day9 TV. He used to
Okay.
do StarCraft 2 gameplays, and
All
he was
right.
like the first streamer ever from even Justin TV to hit like 1 million followers, but like no one knows who he is. Like,
Yeah.
you
Uh,
know,
Yeah.
but
Like
I
that.
saw him. He did a playthrough of Amnesia, and he was so
Hmm.
funny. And I was like, "Oh, I gotta stream! Like that's so much fun. That's awesome."
Yeah.
But he even, I think he did an interview once with Conan. But it never. That was like we're talking like 6, 7 years ago, and here it is now. We still ninjas now. And no one
Yeah.
knows about the other time. It's like
Yeah.
ninjas feeling
Exactly.
like the first. It's
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah. Like I mean, I've never heard of him, and that's the thing. And
Yeah.
like I haven't been streaming that long, but I remember uh, a friend of my sister's. He used to have like a modern arcade
Hmm.
down where I am, down by the local college, and he had a whole bunch of uh, PlayStations and Xboxes and PCs,
Oh
and
wow.
you could go in there, buy, sell, and trade, and you could also rent out time. So if you wanted to try a game before you bought it,
Hmm.
you could rent out an hour on a PlayStation or an Xbox or um,
That's more than just like when I hear arcade, I'm
mhm.
picturing like the big box machines, like
Oh
put in
no,
a
yeah,
quarter, like that's like
that's art. Yeah,
newer
that's
age arcade now.
arcade. Yeah, but yeah, he had it was like he called it like the den is or the pit kind of thing is like where all
Hmm.
the consoles were, and each little thing like it was divided up, and everybody's back was facing inwards.
Hmm.
So like you're basically facing the wall,
Yeah,
and
and you can see all the games and stuff.
yeah, you could see, but it was like there was a raised platform in the center that you could walk around. So you could walk around, you could watch other people play,
That's awesome.
and it was set up so each little section had a TV and a console. So, you know,
Hmm.
four people could be in one little section, and we would go in there. And this was back when Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2,
Oh, great
uh,
game.
was out and kind of the height of it. And that's what actually got me back into gaming because uh, like I said, I mean, we were
Like
talking about
N64 and.
N64 and Sega and everything like that. Like, I kind of got out of gaming for a bit.
Hmm.
I got into like PC gaming, like the very beginnings of PC, like
Yeah, Command and
hit
Conquer.
yeah, Command and Conquer, Halo or not Halo, Half Life, and
Ah, yeah.
EverQuest and stuff like that.
Oh wow. The
And so
pre-WoW game, the thing
yeah,
that
oh yeah,
no one really mentions it. EverQuest, like
EverQuest was
that
like
was the birth.
yeah, I think that was like the first monthly subscription game that
Hmm.
you paid to, and like I knew a buddy of mine had a subscription to it. I mean, I was like, at that young, I didn't have money, so I was like, I can't afford to pay monthly to play the game. You
Yeah.
kidding me? I'm still like that. I'm like, I'm not playing WoW. I'm not. I'm not buying a game and then paying you so I can play a game. But
And good luck explaining that to your parents too at that time, you know, like,
exactly.
can I get this game for like $50 and then every month we're also going to be paying like $13 to $15?
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
But
So
they
I
were
got into-
great though. That was a great game.
It was. And I think EverQuest is now actually free to play kind of thing. Well, I think you had to buy the game, but I think you don't have to pay monthly for it anymore. But anyways, so I got into PC gaming for a bit, like custom building. I remember going to PC shows with my dad to go buy a skeleton rig. It came with motherboard. No, it came with a case, and a hard drive. And I think that was it.
Oh wow.
Like you had to buy a motherboard, memory, and CPU and GPU. Well, back when GPUs were essentially looked like a network card.
Yeah, and you had all the cables with what it was like 24 wires in it or something.
Yeah.
It was like good luck putting that together. Nowadays it's plug and play, you know. Auto loading drivers and stuff.
Oh, Lord. Yeah.
Yeah, I was watching they did Teens React, I think it was, or Kids React, and they had them using an iMac, like the old school like bubble one with a color on it and see-through. And they're like looking at it like it was like some piece of alien technology, you know. And as it's turning on, my favorite part was this one kid, like, it's loading, like it's turning on. Like computers didn't just turn on back then, like, you know. And the kid's like, well, this is taking a while. And I'm like
you had a boot up sequence and everything you had to do back then.
You had to see the smiley face for like 5 minutes straight, you know, and like that was just normal. Like we were so, I think it was like an enforced patience onto everyone who used computers, even if you did like an update on something. Like, but also I remember back then you'd update a program and it would just work. Like you didn't really have like, oh, we're gonna do an update and it would break things. Nowadays it's like, well, what is going to break? You know.
Yeah,
like you were even mentioning your sound stuff as a streamer.
Yeah.
It's like you do a Windows update and then you open up OBS and you're like, please
don't. Please have all my settings still working.
I have to. I write down all my settings on paper just so like there's no way to lose it. You know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The nightmare of the updates.
Well, it was like back then. It was you couldn't just push out an update if something went wrong. Like if a program broke, you couldn't just push out a patch for it the next day or 2 days or 3 days later. It was a big deal.
Yeah.
To update a program. Like it was, I remember doing my dad backing up the computer because back then we had one family computer. And because it was super expensive. Like computers were, I mean, they're still expensive now, but so we had an Apple II, I think it was.
Oh, wow.
Because my mom got a discount for it because she was a teacher at the time.
Ah, my mom's a school secretary.
It was
we got the same discount.
It was probably still like $2,000 for that thing. And literally I mean, it sounds bad, but my watch probably has more memory and a higher CPU power than that thing.
Yeah, it was probably like a 30 megahertz processor.
Yeah. Like that's when memory and hard drives were megabytes.
Oh yeah.
Like gigabyte did not exist. Like it was this
internet didn't exist really.
Yeah,
like the Apple II, you probably weren't networking on that. You know,
nope.
what was on it was what was on it. Like you had like. Well, I think, did Super Munchers come out at the time of the Apple II?
Let's see here. When did the Apple come out?
I think Super Munchers, because I had a Macintosh Performa, and it had Super Munchers on it. That was actually probably the second game, like the second series of games that I ever played with Super Munchers. So good. I'm going to pull up a picture of what Super Munchers look like. This was Super Munchers, just words in boxes around the screen.
Oh, fuck yeah. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. No, it's cool.
I remember playing this like in like the PC lab in elementary school.
Oh yeah, every school had Super Munchers. They
Mhm.
wanted you rocking and rolling on that. You
And
know.
Super Munchers had. There was one game that I've been dying to find that I could never find back then, or recently that I used to play back then, and it was you built a paper airplane to see how far you could get
Oh
it to
wow.
fly, and it was like down a school hallway kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what's this one? I remember this one.
That was possibly probably the first ever physics testing software then.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And they were on an Oregon Trail, obviously. Always an
Oh
Oregon
yeah,
Trail.
Oregon Trail, Amazon Trail even. Then
Yep,
you'd go
yep.
fishing and spear the eels and stuff.
Oh god.
I never beat any of the trail games. I'll admit it here today.
Yeah.
I never beat him.
Yeah.
There's no way to beat him. Someone always got malaria or
Malaria,
like
dysentery.
dysentery. Like even
Math
the
blasters.
text games, like the
Mhm.
old school text games, I never beat them either. Like it's like you are in a cave, you see nothing around you,
Yeah.
and I would just be like, all right, now what? Like
Yeah, exactly. I'm like I was never really big on those games because I was like I don't know what to do.
yeah.
'Cause, you had to obviously use your imagination and you could
Hmm.
tell it what to do, but I'm like, go forward, turn
Yeah.
left, turn right. Like
Yeah.
I never looked for things. I never anything like that.
And then
So,
you get just like continuous, like I do not know that command. I do
yeah,
not
yeah,
know that,
exactly.
you know.
And yeah, and that was back then when you had to know, you had to essentially know the very basics of kind of programming ish, like
Yeah.
run C drive slash MS Paint kind of thing. Like you had to tell it where you had to tell the computer where to go because there
Yeah.
wasn't really any you didn't have a GUI system. Like you didn't have icons, you didn't have anything like that.
Didn't have any images for the game either, except for like the
Yeah.
starter image usually, and that was
Yeah.
just like text like put together to look like an image at first with a
Yep.
cave, you know. But yeah, it was just a whole bunch of saved commands. I mean, just like I guess it would be not too dissimilar to the Twitch chatbots. Like I have the Streamlabs
Mhm.
bot. I can pretty
Yeah.
much save in any word I want or command and then have an automated reply. I probably could make that game in my
mean,
chatbot actually.
I've I don't know. Do you use Streamlabs chatbot?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
The
I
old
think a
school
lot of
Ank
people-
bot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's like I'm on part of their Discord
Hmm.
back when it was Onkbot and everything like that. But
Yeah.
there's some of the games and everything you could do that I've seen people put in there. Like you can straight up play Jenga in your
Really?
chat. Yeah, because it's all Python.
Yeah,
is-
with the
is
Python
what it-
script, yeah.
Yeah, and I've seen like Jenga and all kinds of. I think you could do like Hangman and all that
Mhm.
kind of stuff. So, yeah, I mean, if you
I gotta get that added actually. If there's
so if-
Hangman, that's cool.
if you could, obviously sit down and write. I don't know if there's a size thing, but like
Mm.
or take up that much chat room, but you could probably honestly play all of Oregon Trail in your chat if you wanted to.
Yeah, I had seen. I think they have like a Pokemon chat game
Mhm.
that was using like the Pokemon emotes and stuff.
Yeah.
But when I saw that, I was like, nope, too confusing.
Too confused. Yeah,
I
was like,
figured
oh.
out how to do the slot one, and then I started learning about read ran line commands
Yeah.
and stuff, and and once I got that working, I was like, all right, mountain climbed. Yeah.
Good enough. I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, fair enough. People will probably enjoy this. I'll leave it at that. That is amazing though. I mean, when I first started streaming, I mean, we're talking like 4 or 5 years ago now, and Streamlabs wasn't even a thing. Like
Oh, yeah.
live notifications was just T-Notifier, and the best you can have was an image that would pop out from the side or the top or the bottom of the screen, and you just layer in the wording over it, but you'd have to like have the wording on there for what's actually happening, and then it would put in the name for you, and it never worked correctly. So it has followed. You'd have that in your image, and it would always layer the person's name over the has followed.
Has
It'd be like
followed.
random
Okay.
placement and stuff. Like, oh man, then Streamlabs came out, and it was like the floodgates open. Oh, so amazing. And now they're buying up everything, Ankbot, everything.
Yeah.
They're doing a thing.
Yeah, Streamups is definitely because when I started, uh, it's probably been I've probably been streaming kind of off and on. Like it was when I first started, it was like, yeah, I'll totally do this, and it was like I'll stream once a month kind of thing.
Yeah.
And uh, I want to say like the big thing was Nightbot, MooBot, and that was kind of it. Like it was those were the main. Unless you knew somebody that had a custom made, bot.
Yeah.
That was it. It was Nightbot and MooBot were kind of the rulers, and then
It still seems like Nightbot's kind of like for like the newer
Nightbot's
people, they always
Mhm.
kind of go with Nightbot first. I see.
Yeah, Nightbot. Because I think Nightbot's very user friendly
Yeah.
because you don't have a program on your computer. It's all web based stuff. So you just log into Nightbot on Google or in
Yeah.
Chrome or whatever, and change your settings.
Yeah. And then you don't
Yeah.
even have to have it open while you stream too.
Exactly.
It
was
just
one
kind
less
of does
thing.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Put it on
So
autopilot. I think it helps. I think for newer streamers, I think the best thing to do always is like kind of just take the stress out of everything. Start small. Just enjoy the streaming. Like you said, like you'd stream like once a month. Like, yeah, start off slow. Don't like come into it like, oh, I have a schedule. I have this. I have
Mhm.
that. Start off slow. Start to enjoy it. Find some people that's like watching the channel, and then go from there. But I mean, then again, I'm not a big time streamer, so it's like, I shouldn't really talk. But like, I think that's probably the best way because I always feel terrible when I see like a newer streamer, and they're just burned out. They're just like,
Mhm.
like, oh man, like I gotta stream, like, I gotta do Monday, like I can't go out, I can't do something, like I gotta go and stream. I'm like, nah, you live, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
go slow.
Like this is not, this is a long haul. This is not
Mm-hmm.
a, stream for a month or, 6 months to a year and you're partnered and you're, you know,
Unless you're like the most amazing player
exactly. I
ever.
mean, I know I
Yeah.
have I have seen those people that are like, yeah, I just started like
Yeah, like,
6 months ago and they have, you know, 900 followers and 80, 90 people in chat and
mm-hmm.
killing it. And that's
No.
great. I mean, more power to those people. It takes a very specific personality and stuff like that to be able to just come in and dominate when it comes to new streaming and everything like that. And some people that see, I'm not like that. Like I'm very much, I'm just gonna sit in my little corner. I'm gonna play my little game.
Yeah.
People want to come in and chat, great. Just,
Mm-hmm.
just gonna be over here doing my thing.
That's how I started. I started with Star Wars: The Old Republic, and
Okay.
because I was making like some WoW videos back in the day with
Mhm.
World of Warcraft Arena and stuff on YouTube, and then I was like, nah, I want to check out the Twitch thing. That's where like day 9 is. Like that's where I'm going,
Yeah.
And I'd play Star Wars: The Old Republic like 8 hours straight. I'd be just talking to myself. No one would be watching.
Mhm.
It's just me, and I would be like, I'd just be talking to myself, like, all right, so I love playing the medic healer, because it's a very mobile healing class. And I'd be like
Yeah.
doing like actual like informative like video stuff, but just to myself. Like
Mhm.
it didn't matter if anyone was there or not.
Yeah. See, that's where I have problems.
Mm.
Is when I first started doing this is like I was very I was really bad at talking.
Mm-hmm.
Like and it sounds really dumb because it's like, well, duh, that's what you're kind of supposed to do. But I'm like, I didn't know
Oh, it's
what to
tough.
say.
Yeah.
Like I was like, I don't. Yeah,
And
people
plus,
are
you're
just like,
focusing. You're used to
yeah,
focusing on the game and
yeah,
not having to talk like the whole time you're doing it. So it's
yeah, exactly.
understandable.
Like even now, I'm still like, if nobody's in chat really, like if I and
Mm-hmm.
obviously just like a lot of news streamers and stuff like that, God, it was like you focus on the numbers. It's like, oh man, nobody showed up to my stream today, and
Yeah.
da 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 and da da da. So it's like it can be you know
Yeah.
disheartening and everything like that. But if you can make it through that and find the 2 or 3 people that do show up and just and still like I said, anyways, I'm still have problems today
No.
with constantly talking about something, and it's like
No.
I'm kind of finding out that I don't have to literally fill every second of my
Yeah.
stream with something.
Yeah, you
But
let the game take over a little bit here
yeah,
and there,
take the
you know.
game, let the game, and that's why I really like having music in my
Hmm.
in my stream. Because if I'm not talking, I don't like dead silence.
Yeah.
And
And it helps too that you can sing along with the song, and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
gives
And
you
then
some more content.
yeah, or if I'll have if I do have enough people in there and stuff like that, or if anybody is like, I'll ask chat like, what do you want to listen to, or do you
Yeah.
want
Hey,
song
you can let them
request
do
on? Do
song
you
requests,
want whatever kind of thing. So unless I'm doing like a story driven game, then it's like usually I'll have some kind of lo-fi or something in the background
yeah.
when there's nothing going on in the game, so it's not just dead silence.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just the new streamer thing is definitely having to take it slow. Like don't go out and build a $2,000 computer and have to get a Rode microphone and a mixer and everything. Like I did it.
Logitech webcam that does
Yeah,
4K.
exactly. Yeah, oh, yeah, DSLR. Like I,
Yeah,
Gents
DSLR with the
talking about getting,
Elgato like USB cam link.
yeah,
Like,
like gents getting into the big games with that, getting a DSLR and
really? Oh
yeah,
man.
he's been talking about getting a DSLR and don't get me wrong, they're fantastic
Oh
quality
yeah.
cameras. Like you want to step your your stream game up, that's the way to do it. But I'm just like, like I'll be happy with my 1080p. Like I do not need
Mm-hmm.
people to see my face in 4K. Like no, I'm okay with that.
Well, the best thing I ever heard was I forget what YouTube channel it was. I think it would I can't remember what channel it was, but there's a
Mhm.
channel that they do allow like video reviews like of like best cameras and stuff for
Okay.
streaming and creation. And the guy was like, look, if you're streaming video games and stuff, what are you going to get a 4K camera for when you're going to take up like 10% of the screen?
Yeah.
He's like, you're going to have the best looking 10% of your screen, whereas the rest of it's all in 720p,
720,
you know?
yeah.
So it's like, what's the point of that? You just spent like $700 on this whole thing to make this little tiny thing pretty,
Yeah.
And I can understand that, unless when you're getting bigger though, when you get in the audience and
Mhm.
and getting bigger, I guess I can understand that because I think when someone's staring at something for like 6 hours straight, I guess it helps to kind of up it a little bit,
Yeah.
But I think it's pretty amazing what we could do with these. Like I have the C920. I used to have one that I think it wasn't even 480p. That's what I started off with.
Mhm.
And that was I sometimes I look at my old videos and I'm like, oh man, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
I had like since I stream in the dining room, I had my china closet behind me.
Nice.
So just like a whole bunch of just like random items and like glasses and stuff. It's like,
Yep.
yep, that's my gaming background right there. Like, and then I had the window and stuff. Like, oh man. But I agree, man. Slow and steady. That's what I think wins the race.
Yeah.
You see if you enjoy it, but it really does. Like I'm with you too. I mean, I've been doing this, for so long now, and sometimes I get quiet too when I'm like focusing.
Mhm.
Like even the other day in God of War, like I was focusing on one of the fights against this Valkyrie thing, and I'm seeing the chat moving, and I'm like, I want to read that, but I can't like look
Yeah.
away.
Like you look away, you're gonna die. Like and then you have to start this whole thing all over again.
And then too, like when you're failing and failing and failing and failing, like I can understand why people would maybe not want to watch you fail for like 3 hours straight or something. They want to see you succeed.
Yeah.
I mean, we're supposed to. I think that Twitch does come with an air of, you're not just gaming, but you're successfully gaming in some ways. Like if you're gonna do a playthrough of a game, you're gonna have to beat the game. Like we were talking earlier, like you're going to have to beat that game, whether you like it or not. You started it, get to the end. So we have to have like some level of skill, and then on top of that, you're playing it and looking at chat and thinking of notifications and, trying to think about talking and, doing like 10 things at once. It does get a little bit tough to then always remember like, oh, I should talk. Like,
Yeah.
and there's a thing I should be doing here, you know. But yeah, it is great though once you get that like solid group of people who do talk in the chat, and
Mm-hmm.
you know it becomes their couch, you know,
Yeah,
becomes
exactly.
their place, because then they help out so much. Because then when you're not talking and someone comes by, say hi, who's the first people to talk to them? It's usually your community before even you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're the ones saying, hey, what's going on, you know, getting to know each other. And then next thing you know, now you got 10 people watching and, you know,
Yeah, exactly.
chatting.
Yeah.
You know, then it grows. But I do notice, so I don't know if you've noticed it too, but like every channel I do watch, like I watch some channels that maybe have a couple hundred people watching.
Mm-hmm.
Usually there is only like 20 people watching. So I do wonder, like, I mean, 20 people talking, like in the chat. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I do wonder if Twitch is starting to, like we were mentioning earlier, become like a TV thing, you know, where
Yeah,
people
it's
watch instead of like are there to talk, you
talk.
know?
Yeah, it's there in the background, and I mean, and like that's the thing. Like I'm all about like I currently have two other streams
Mhm.
going in the background, like they're all muted and everything like that. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I don't count as a streamer or as a viewer anymore. But it's like,
Yeah, because of Chrome doing that stupid
yeah,
BS. Like, thanks, Chrome.
right. Thanks for screwing that up.
Now you have to
But
use like multi-twitch.tv
yeah,
or whatnot to count on them. So annoying.
yeah. But it's like, when I first started, it was like lurking. Like you had to,
Hmm.
like you could just mute a stream
Yeah.
and go about your day, and it
Yeah.
would still count you in there and everything like that. And there were some streams. There's one guy that I watch. He's lives right around me.
Hmm.
He's a partner streamer. He does Binding of Isaac.
Hmm.
And like that's kind of he does Binding of Isaac for the first half of his stream, and then he does Fortnite for the second half.
Okay.
And I love his commentary. I love his like the sound of his voice. Like it's very, he has a little bit deeper voice. So it's really kind of chill, and he's funny and everything like that. And it's like I don't talk in his chat, like,
Yeah.
but I'll be in there
It helps
to
pass the time.
yeah, exactly. Like, when I'm doing stuff before I go to work, it's like I said, like doing podcasts, like you listen to it while you're doing the dishes or you're
Yeah.
doing something like that. It's
Taking
great.
a poop. You
Yeah, great
know?
background, great background, kind of thing. So it's like for me, talking about doing the 4K camera and
Mm.
everything like that, like not worth for me, and obviously because of what I majored in and everything like that in college is my first go to. Like, I don't care if the stream is in 4K, the camera is in 4K. If somebody's audio is trash, I will not watch the stream. So when I start doing this, like I want, like I did, I invested in like I have a Rode Procaster and a 10-channel mixer sitting next to me. Do I
Hmm.
have the viewership to probably justify getting it? No,
Yeah.
but if somebody is lurking, I would rather have good audio
Hmm.
than shitty and less great video quality
Yeah.
than I do the other way around. Because I listen to streams more than I probably actually watch them.
Yeah. Well, I
So
mean,
like I just,
for those who don't know, we work in the sound field, so
hmm
you know this is something that we deal with like on a daily basis, is listening to things and dealing in the stereo spectrum and all the whole sound sphere. So, I can understand, especially for us, it's when we're hearing something, we know exactly what we're listening to when we can
yeah,
hear like every single downside to it. But I think it's true. Like you can't listen to something that's not palatable to the ears,
yeah,
you know, for a long time. Whereas you could watch something that's not palatable to the eyes longer, then you can hear it. I think I
yeah,
definitely agree with that.
yeah. Like I can deal with somebody's stream, if it's not as
Pixelated.
yeah, if it's a little bit pixelated depending on the game. Like I found a lot of Splatoon games get pixelated just
Hmm.
because
A lot of
the
movement
yeah, a
needs a
lot
lot
of
more bit
movement,
rate.
such high quality, or not such high, but like such bright colors and everything like that. Like the
Hmm.
rendering has got to be insane to be able to actually do, um, have a smooth 100% crisp clean stream with something like Splatoon where it's such, you're quickly moving and everything. But yeah, so I can deal with that as long as the streamer and the sound of the game are good quality. Like I could deal with pixelation.
Yeah.
That's fine. But if I come into your stream and you have a 4K, like you're streaming at 1080p, but your mic, like your headset mic or whatever mic you're using is distorted and blown, and
Yeah.
like I can hear somebody walking outside in your yard because you have everything turned up so loud.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to sit around. Like I'm
Clipping
like,
left and right.
yeah, clipping left and right, and you're yelling and it's getting all distorted. That's great. I love people that get excited about the games they're playing, but if you yell and it's, you know, completely blowing out everything,
No.
sorry, not gonna stick around for too long. But that's just me. I mean, some people
No.
it doesn't bother, but that's just me.
I think also, though, I think that when it comes down to the streaming software we use, a lot of the tech that's being used on streams by, especially like the newer streamers, they don't have for us as sound engineers. I mean, we have limiters to keep volumes from clipping. We have a lot of different things we could do, even like tinkering with the stereo spectrum. Whereas, like in OBS, it does try. Like I've noticed in some recent updates, it does try and pan the games out separately from the mic. It does try and center the mic better, so it's a little bit more audible. But for those who don't know, if you're watching the when you dealing with recording software, you have the stereo spectrum, so you can go 0 to the left to 180, 0 to the right, and within that you can make things be in it in a certain area, so it makes it sound a lot clearer, and you don't have to be as loud to overpower it. So it's like it's the weirdest thing ever. Whereas in like OBS and slobs and stuff, they have a lot of focus on video, tons of focus on video.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to sound, it's just like, it works. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Like, can you hear me? Yeah. Okay, good enough. Like,
yeah. And it's amazing because then, like we know that when something's not palatable to the ears, people can't experience it for long periods of time. So it's like almost counterproductive to making new streamers become a thing, because you're giving them a much harder mountain to like summit,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
because they're probably using like just a regular headset mic, which is going to sound like you're in a tiny box,
Yeah.
and it's going to be grainy and everything because it's doing so much to pump up the volume and everything, and then to then make that sound good, and then you look up online, there's like very few videos on how to use any of the plugins for OBS for sound, and no one knows about mixers and stuff, sadly, even though this is like mixers are like some of the oldest technology in the audio field, but it's like nope.
Yeah, back when Moog made the first 8-channel mixer, and like, oh yeah, you had 16 channels, but you had to mix down channels 1 and 2 to 1, 2, 3 and 4 to 2. You had to mix down all of those channels to be able to get more free channel.
And God forbid, in those mix downs, if you misleveled one of those tracks, for those of you don't know, like, so basically, like, you'd start with these like 8 faders, so these little like things you could slide up and down, and then you'd take 2 of them and then record them over each other. You'd make sure they're in the stereo spectrum where you want them, with their mids, their equalizations of their sound, and then you combine them, and now you've just opened up another channel for yourself to use. But if you didn't remember where something was in the stereo spectrum that you mixed down, or the volumes, maybe you did the volumes of these 2 tracks differently than these other 2, and then you're sitting there and it's like, well, we need that guitarist to come back in to record the whole song.
Exactly. Yeah. It wasn't back then. I mean, this was obviously long before my time. Like I was.
Nowadays with Pro Tools, it's like
and I got certified on Pro Tools. Oh shoot! What was
really should be called Brick Your System Tools, because if Pro Tools has an issue, like even the smallest, like you're sweating when it's installing itself on the computer, you know, because that will break a computer.
Oh yeah, it will. Like I have actually sitting underneath that like black, case sitting underneath my TV and everything like on the floor is a Digio 2. That's, I have a rack mounted Digio 2 sitting in there. That's that's where it was. Pro Tools was at when I was in college.
Let me see if I can pull up a picture of it.
Yeah, because I wanted to get just a regular Digio 2.
Okay, I think I found. Oh, you have the rack mounted one, so probably one of these.
Yeah, the first. No, that's what I was. The first thing right there, the Digio 2. That's what I have sitting right over there. I wanted the full board, but I was like, if I'm going to be able to take this, 'cause I had a laptop. I built a Dell laptop specifically for being able to take it to, gigs and stuff like that of local bands and whatnot to record with or to whatever for them. I was like, that doing a full rack, doing a full board, it's going to be such a pain. So I did I opted and got a rack mounted system.
They're nice, much more sleek. I actually found this is the board my brother has. That's what I was so shocked as you were talking. That it's like, boom, there's the board my brother has.
Nice.
That's crazy. It was amazing though. The Digio 2. I mean, you're looking at all these inputs. I mean, you can definitely go to a show and mic up the whole drum set with that. Get some vocals, get some instruments on that, and do a thing. And it gives you a lot of options. If only streaming software had this capability in it.
Like, I mean, you could put a virtual mixer right there in OBS would be phenomenal.
Oh, I don't understand how it's not. All these years later, like I remember I was in the beta test for XSplit, the other software that streamers can use. Before they started charging money for XSplit, I beta tested it. And all these years later, we still don't have like something for you to individually line in your game, your notifications, your this, your that. Like how, like I remember if you're like a streamer and you have one monitor, you're having to do everything on the fly because most games they mute their volume when you leave the game. So if you're trying to, get the levels for the game, your mic, the notifications all sorted, the game is always the question mark because you're like, I don't know if it's too loud. I can't hear myself. It's like, so you're windowing out and trying to see where the line is left in OBS and the sound thing to see if it was like near where your normal line is. Stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
They did add though monitor though recently, so you can hear yourself, but I don't like it.
I don't like it either, just because there's a small delay, and so it throws me off.
Like, I can't throw off any singer, even the best singer in the studio. They start singing into a thing with delay, and they're like, I don't know why I can't sing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's actually I forget what it's called, but there's an actual
like a scientific term,
and it's if you do a delay of I just watched a YouTube video about it here recently about a certain 250 milliseconds or something like that. It's some weird like random number. But if you do a delay and like you play it back to yourself of what you're currently talking about, it can disrupt you enough where it basically stops you from talking because you can't process what is going on in your head. Since you're hearing what you just said, delayed just enough where it's preventing you from continuing to talk.
Yeah,
and
they have
really weird.
It's called the Speed Jammer app. Let me pull this up. I'll play a little bit of the video.
TV shows, Tosh.0
recited
giveaways, and
Facebook. That's Facebook.
Wow. Are we going to talk about the thingy? There we go. All right, he's grabbing the headphones.
Hey, what's up, you guys? It's your boy Joe Gilly here. Just a reminder to visit our website, Gear Addicts Hawkins. for your daily fix of text reviews, tailors, giveaways.
Yeah,
this sucks.
he starts because he can't talk at all because of it. You know, it's amazing because it messes with your brain.
Mhm.
Like the brain can't function because it's trying to understand like what's happening, and then
Yeah.
it's so used to the no delay. I guess it's like
Mhm.
made so that like if something is on delay, it's like whoa, driver's not found.
Yeah, exactly. And it's stuff like it just messes. And the video I was watching talked about kind of using it for crowd control and stuff like
Mhm.
police applications, and it's like, well, where do you
That would be interesting.
something like that? Like police can stop, protest, like
It would
not like
probably quiet them down because they probably would start slurring their speech if they just
exactly.
mic'd the crowd and then replayed it back at a delay, like the delay
Mhm.
needed for that. That's really interesting.
Yeah, it went into like applications like that, and it's like, well, then if you're talking about those kind of applications, well, then you can get into, well, uh, the malicious aspect of using
Yeah.
it is like a say you're doing a debate kind of thing, like the opposition can mess
Yeah.
you up because it's something like being able to the way that it was talking about was like you could basically force like monitor, like obviously like monitors at a concert and everything like that, like people
Yeah.
that are in the crowd can't hear the monitors,
Yeah.
so it's like, it's only like you can direct the sound at a particular person,
Mhm.
but nobody else can hear what's going on, so you can essentially mess somebody up without anybody else knowing what you're doing.
No.
So it just got into like the philosophical kind of like, well, where's the line on using this kind of technology, on
Yeah.
where do you use it, where don't you use it, kind of thing.
Yeah, like what's a reasonable predicates and rule set to figure out this existential thing. I
Yeah,
love stuff like that.
yeah, it was just, I just found it interesting about the delay and about
That
the
is wild.
OBS delay, and but yeah, so like I said, I don't know, dude. I would be so happy if OBS were to put in just
Mhm.
a simple mixer.
Yeah.
Just, it doesn't have to be this, EQ.
Yeah, we don't need highs, mids,
Total,
lows.
just a simple, a simple mixer where, and being able to split up. And I wish, and I know you can do it with we were talking about before the stream,
Mhm.
voice meter banana.
Yeah.
And I know you can split up, because I would love to be able to split up my music, my game, and my audio into
Mhm.
either own channel, and
Yeah.
then split up like Discord into its own channel. And so I can, yeah, what I would love to be able to do is actually all run it through my mixer, so I can have a physical, like I thought about putting getting like an old iPod and
Play music from that through your
playing
mixer.
music through that. Yeah, playing music through that, like put on Spotify through that, through my mixer, and being able to control it that way. But it's just like,
That
then
would be
it's
simpler.
yeah, but then it's tied into my mic channel,
Yeah.
so it's just kind of like, well, I just can't win.
Yeah.
So it's just
It
a
would be
pain. But
cool. I think it would be a lot easier. I think it would
mm,
even for like newer streamers too. It would be a lot easier for them because I do see a lot of times with newer streamers, they'll be playing a game and then all of a sudden the game is just overpowering them,
mhm.
and they don't realize it's happening because when you're first streaming, I think a lot of time when people are first streaming, they don't really like to watch their past broadcasts or they don't
I
even
still
realize how
don't.
to set it. You
Hmm.
know, like there's been a few people like Sinful. She's a good friend of mine. She started streaming, and she didn't have it set to save the past broadcast. And she's like, "Well, where do
Hmm.
I do that?" I don't get why Twitch doesn't have that just automatically on. Like,
Yeah.
why wouldn't you want your past broadcasts? Like, who in the world out there streaming? Like, I just never want anything to exist after I'm done with it.
It's, I mean, don't get me wrong. I have had some broadcasts like, I need to go delete that archive.
Oh yeah, I
But
let some of them die. I let some of
yeah,
them die.
yeah, yeah.
I've been like highlighting all my past broadcasts, but there's been like one that here and there. Like, I'm just like, well, that gameplay can. We don't need that.
Yeah.
That could go. That could go away. When I first started, they didn't delete any of your past broadcasts. Like everything stayed, and then all of a sudden they were like, "Get all your videos off now because we're getting rid of this." Like, and I had like videos, like we're talking months of videos, but their servers were probably just getting overrun.
I bet.
That's when Twitch had its first initial spike of people coming, but now with like Fortnite, it's just everybody's on it. There's thousands. Just yesterday I was trying to scroll like just through all the channels on Twitch to get down to like lower view channels just to see what's there, like what randomness I can find. I like to do it from time to time where I'll go to the browse, go to the channels and just scroll for like an hour straight until I get to like 5 viewer channels and stuff and just see what's there. But like I was scrolling and we're talking like 50 minutes I'm scrolling and I didn't even get to like the 100 viewer, like, below 100 viewer channels. Like it was, I mean, of course, you scroll to the bottom and then it has to load the next like 20 something channels, but I was like, wow. Cause like my guinea pig, she was napping, and I'm just in there scrolling. And I was amazed. Like there's so many people streaming, which is great. I look forward to seeing what's going to be the next content. I mean, we do have channels starting to come out, well, I don't want to say starting to come out because they've been out, but like Geek and Sundry, they have a channel and they do a lot of different content. So they'll do like Dungeons and Dragons gameplay and, talk shows and stuff. So we are seeing a spread from like just doing games, but I'm hoping what we'll see in the future is more like producers, like more like find a streamer, let's take this person on and train them and then give them the capability of doing a different type of content, like make podcasts, like find a few streamers, make a podcast with them, like people that are finding talent to make stuff, whereas right now it seems like that's happening on YouTube. They're finding the content creators and then they'll help produce them and be their managers and stuff. But I don't really see it. Like, I don't know. Have you seen it on Twitch where like it's happening?
Not really. Not. I mean, I've seen it on YouTube and everything like that, but I haven't seen it on Twitch like that. It would be super cool if they did stuff like that and doing like the collab things and everything like that and trying to get multiple channels to work together, I think would be really cool.
I mean, Ninja and them do it for Fortnite.
Like Ninja and Lupo and Tim and stuff like that. They do stuff like that, but
doesn't really happen like aside from that. Like even like Dungeons and Dragons stuff or like podcast stuff, like it seems like Twitch still is like climb the mountain, make the content, make it great, find a community, and then we'll take you on. Whereas YouTube's kind of like there's companies and corporations outside of YouTube that are making the content for YouTube. So I'm excited, like we were talking about Ninja and stuff, seeing more representation of Twitch like on things, because I wonder if that's going to be the next step. I wonder if this TV style content's going to be the next step and what the TV shows for Twitch will be, because can it be just gaming? Like, I don't know.
It'll definitely be interesting. I mean, and I know it's like you said, Geek and Sundry, and I think Nerdist has a channel.
I think aren't they owned though, like by the same company, Geek and Sundry and Nerdist?
I don't know. I think they may have started out as the same. I don't know. But like like I always see Geek and Sundry, Sundry or whatever you actually pronounce it. But yeah, then there's the actual Nerdist news and everything like that. And trying to think of who else would be. And I know some of the YouTubers.
Geek and Sundry did join Nerdist.
Oh, they did? Okay.
Yeah. Oh no, that's just next level. Let me see. Let me pull this up.
Because
Next
How
level
was
of
it?
interaction with Alpha. We better interact with either something ourselves. I think they are the same company. All great
Like one's a
programming.
subsidiary of the other.
Yeah. New venture with new programs and new ways to interact, introducing Alpha standalone membership video platform. Okay, so they have a video platform that they're both popping up on. So they're
Okay.
they're the same thing now.
Gotcha.
I think they're even in there with like Rooster Teeth and stuff.
Okay. All right.
All of them pop up on the same thing now.
Mm-hmm.
But still, I mean, it's not we don't have yet. I think Twitch is still in its infancy, which is great. Like, it means we still have some freedom, some
Yeah.
room to like figure out what's the next thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it'll definitely be interesting to see where this goes, and
No.
especially now that a lot more of, because there, I don't know if not many people know, but there's a channel that is, you can essentially label your stream or whatever as always on,
Mm-hmm.
and I follow it, and it's let's see here, browse, like it's under like a lot of the stuff's put in IRL and everything.
Yeah. Well, they have the always on just
Community.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
that's what
a
I'm.
live
That's,
channel. Wow,
yeah,
227,000 followers for it. Whew.
under always on. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's where like Twitch Presents is.
Mhm.
Got
And- but they-
Fail Army. What?
Yeah, they have. There's right now. There's Red Bull has a
Yeah, I see
channel
that
on
there.
there. Fail Army food. The food channel that's always on.
Let's see what
Uh,
Red Bull's got up here.
Buzzer is actually pretty cool. I actually watched that. It's got a lot of the old school.
Wow, a shooting range is on.
Oh, that surprises.
Yeah, with the Red Bull channel.
Yeah. I mean, my guess is looking at those guys, they're probably like athletes of some sort. Like
Yeah.
they
Oh, Buzzer. Yeah, I see it. Buzzer.
I
now.
love Buzzer. I watch that a lot actually. 'cause
The
it's a lot
match
of the-
game.
Yeah, exactly, and it's great. I love it. It's the old school match games, and what else they have on there? They have a couple of them, but yeah, like all these, like these are legitimate. Like the fact that Red Bull, like you said, Red Bull has it. There's Combat. What is it? Combat Go is a channel, so it's got a lot of fighting stuff, and so like I feel like this is the very beginning of like you're saying, of TV shows on Twitch.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how this style of content grows.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact
I
that
wonder
you-
how people though, like an up and comer, could create
Mhm.
this type of content though.
Yeah, I don't know where that falls under. Like
Yeah.
like you said, it's still very new, so it's got to find its way. Like, is it under IRL? Is it under, or do you just put it under your own stream
No.
as something? Like, how do you label it? Where does it fall under? In order to get the attention of the viewership that you want.
No.
So
Me even looking at the food channel now, it's only got 2 videos in its video tab, and it's like from
wow.
November of 2016. Even.
wow.
Wow. So these channels aren't like, I mean, there's no one at the helm, like really, like you could tell, like there's no trained person behind
Yeah.
these channels right now.
And
Well,
I'm kind of
that's one
surprised
channel. Let's see.
that Bob Ross's thing isn't up. Because his is usually on and always on. I think this is I think that the
Movie thing?
riff tracks is I think it's like a lot of B movies, like really bad, which I love. I love B movies.
Up to see, there was just a survey recently of like, do you do movie nights with your viewers and stuff, and seeing like I didn't know about this Riff Tracks channel. I wonder what the copyright implications is.
Yeah, and I don't know because I know that I think it was like a Russian streamer literally streamed the Harry Potter movie.
Really?
Yeah, but I think he got like a
Yeah,
either
he probably got
permanent
shut
ban or
down. Yeah.
yeah, or a strike put against him or whatever. But yeah, it's like, what do you? Because I know a couple of other channels that do movie nights. That's becoming a lot more popular
Mm-hmm.
with like it's like a sub movie night kind of thing or a follower
No.
movie night or whatever it is. That's becoming a lot more prevalent, and especially with a lot of rabbit, rab dot, it or whatever it is,
Mm.
um, and stuff like that, being able to stream movies over, to multiple people at the exact same time.
No.
Yeah, doing content like this, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see, and I feel like in the next few years, it'll definitely we'll start seeing bigger corporations starting to take a look at Twitch,
No.
just because of how big the pro gaming scene is getting on here.
No.
And I want to say over the fall, I want to say it was actually like a football game or something was actually streamed on Twitch.
Mm. I saw RC car racing actually one day, just randomly found, and it was just one camera view of this RC car racetrack, and they had two shoutcasters for the race, and just little remote control cars just going around this racetrack.
Oh.
And I watched it for like 3 hours. Not gonna lie, I washed dishes. I'm watching this race. I was like, this is kind of cool.
Yeah. So it's like I feel like that's what's going to start happening is a lot of these smaller things like that. And I know that the drone racing is on here. That's starting to kind of get, people are starting to take notice. So it's becoming a little, slow bit by bit is becoming more popular. And so something's gonna, it's, and I wonder what is going to be the first big thing that's like, okay, we're gonna, take a leap at this and see where it goes. Is it going to be game shows or sports or, who's going to do it? Because I think like the NFL is actually pretty good at doing stuff. Because I think they had a deal with Twitter or something like that. You could actually watch NFL games on Twitter.
Wow.
I want to say it was something like that, but it was like, it'll be interesting to see what kind of, I guess you could say, quote unquote, normal entertainment platform is going to, make a leap towards something like this. Is it going to be something like, Golden Globes, Grammys, the big like one night shows kind of deal? Are they gonna eventually do that?
That would
like
be interesting.
Because Hulu, now that Hulu is slowly starting to get bigger and bigger about the content that they add as well. I think now Hulu, you can stream like live TV instead of actually having to have like a cable TV.
Really?
You can watch it straight on Hulu at the same time it's broadcasted on TV. I think something like that. Like Hulu is.
I actually just canceled my Hulu like
yeah, so did I.
I think 4 weeks ago. I just there was never anything on it that I really watched. I basically used it to watch like if I missed it on TV and my DVR didn't have it, or I wanted to watch the show I wanted in the kitchen. Whereas the TV's in the other room, I can't watch a show while I'm always washing dishes. I live alone, so a lot of dishes to wash.
A lot of dishes being washed. There you go.
I try and cut down on the dishes, but they just build up. And like, I need to watch something, so I have a Surface Pro. I bring that around with me, and I had Hulu for a little bit, but I was like, man, I end up watching Twitch. I end up watching YouTube. Netflix also, even Amazon Prime, our great, wondrous overlords, Amazon. I'll watch that stuff. Every time I give money to it, I'm like, oop, that's more money that's going to be invested into me.
Exactly.
Like,
I am okay with that.
I bought my Twitch cup, actually. They just had it on sale, like 50% off if you had Prime and stuff. So I got like the Twitch purple cup. I got like the onesie. I bought a Twitch onesie.
I have that that Twitch Prime thing pulled up, and I'm like, I kind of want to get a shirt and stuff like that. Like they have mouse pads, bags. They have a duffel bag, a longboard. They usually have Twitch
Tons of shirts.
TwitchCon like 2017 t-shirts. But yeah, like I was like, because I don't think I actually have. No, I do. It was like a really short, like 2 or 3 day thing.
Twitch boxers, man.
Twitch boxers.
Gotta be rocking the Twitch boxers. The pillow, the glitch pillow plush.
yeah. There's some that see, home accessories. Yeah, I've seen that on people's stream before, having that Twitch icon pillow, the beanies, the hats, the mugs, the mouse pads.
The onesie, man.
Yeah.
That's where it's at. It was $20. I was like, all right, I'll get it because it'll look so silly on stream. And I'll look like, as a fat guy, I'm going to look like the girl from Willy Wonka when she eats the candy, and turns into the big old blueberry. That's going to be me when I wear that. I hope it's going to fit.
Oh, God.
I'm shocked, though. Only 6 reviews on it, though. Terrible.
They need to step their game up.
Yeah, what are they doing, man?
People
I really
go
should have
buy a
gotten
hoodie.
those shorts, man. But the only thing I don't get, though, is they're not, like... If I was Twitch and I was making, some style and fashion stuff, I'd be making wild hats that you can wear while wearing a headset. I'd be making everything that a streamer could wear and look funny. I'd be making a shirt that has some cool shoulder Twitch guards on it, like... Why are they not doing this? Like, I don't understand it. That's where, like, they'd make so much money. Imagine Ninja doing a stream with, like, a cool shoulder guard on that's got, like, Twitch in it. That would sell hundreds of thousands. Every kid would be like, Mommy, I need the Ninja guards. Like, I don't get it, man. They have such an opportunity here. And I'm sure with whatever TOS we've signed and everything, there's probably something in there that'll allow them to be like, we're going to use your logos and this and that, and make money off of it. And I'd be like, sure, go for it. Let me just get, a percentage,
Get that royalty.
Yeah. I mean, we got Streamlabs, though. We got to give it up to Streamlabs. They're doing the merch stuff. I ordered my mug the other day. I put, like, my little FG on it. Still waiting for it to come, though.
I need to sit down and get a logo. Now that I changed my name and everything like that, I need to get a logo.
Yeah, because it used to be a stable glitch, right?
Yep. That was actually Stable Gear before that.
Stable Gear, wow.
Yeah.
I think everyone on Twitch has a few names. Like, I was like Yang Baggins Cast. I was like a few different things. And that was all because of a girl. Like, that, my first Twitch channel was created because of a girl in an MMO that I dated for all of 2 weeks on an MMO. Not even in real life, on an MMO. She was like, I'm making a character named Yin. You should make a character named Yang. And my Star Wars Legacy name was Baggins, for like Frodo Baggins, And I was like, okay, sure. And then I was making a Twitch channel. And she's like, you should name it Yang Baggins. I was like, yeah, okay, sure. I love you and stuff. And that was my channel name. Oh, man. So silly.
Find out it's a 40-year-old man in Ohio.
Oh, dude. Like that. See, like the people from back in the day in gaming, this is like another thing. Like when I first was playing WoW, this was before voice chats like Ventrilo and all the other ones
Ventrilo.
were out. It was amazing. Like I remember... TeamSpeak. I was questing with this person named Kaya, and we quested in Azeroth together for like, we're talking like weeks, like questing and talking in the chat. I'm like, I'm falling in like head over heels in love, just absolutely in love. Like, we have all the same things in common: music, games. We love WoW. We play WoW. We're questing WoW. We do this.
Perfect.
And like the first time Ventrolo's come out now, like my guild got a server on it, you know, and like we get into a voice call and I'm like, Kaya, wow, and all I hear is, hey man. I was like, no, not that, like, not that there's anything wrong with it, but that's just not my thing. Like, I was so heartbroken. Like, I never knew. I never asked, you know? The person never told me, but then again, that person never knew I was falling in love day after day.
Exactly.
Like, I mean, I didn't like flirt,
shit.
you know, we were just chatting. It was like one of those friendships that was great conversations, great gameplay, everything, you know. So I never, like, I wasn't sitting there hitting on this person, like, hey baby and stuff. Oh man, Ventrilo broke my heart.
Munchers, dude. Oof.
And that happened, like, it's amazing, like, over the years, like, so many people, that happens to so many people. Like, you're playing with someone you think is someone, and then you talk to them, and it's like, oh, whoops.
Did not think this through, or thought, you know, okay.
Did that ever happen to you? Did you ever either
No.
date a girl in a game, or...
No, can't say. Like, I never really did many MMOs. Like, MMO wasn't my thing. So, like I said, I did
like Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2.
Call of Duty. Yeah, like I did. I was very much of the RTS and the Command and Conquer and Warcraft 3. Like, I didn't venture out into like hardcore, not like hardcore, but like real big MMO online gaming.
Yeah.
It was just like, back then it just wasn't my thing. And then I actually got out of gaming for a long time.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
I stopped playing games. I stopped, like, and it was when I turned 16, you know, when
Okay.
I got a
So
car.
you're trying to,
and,
hang
you know,
out, yeah.
Yeah. I was like, I spent, because all of my friends, minus one of them, they weren't gamers.
No.
Like, they worked on cars. They, you know, we, drove around. We did everything else but sit at home.
Mm-hmm.
We were that age. And so I dropped out of gaming, and it just didn't. And then went to college, and was like, I didn't have time in college. I barely had internet in college for gaming. Like, my first apartment, I did have internet. But then my apartment complex kicked all the students out because it was literally right next to our college. Because my college didn't have any dorms. The maximum student capacity for my college was 500 students.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was a privately owned college.
Damn.
Yeah, it had sound design, it had animation, and like graphic design kind of thing. Like, you know, that was really kind of the only majors that school had.
That's pretty awesome. Because at least you're in like a school scenario, and pretty much everyone around you is probably someone you're going to want to work with one day or can work with someday.
Yeah, and a lot of, and one of the reasons I did this was because the school was one of the few in the area. I mean, I had to move out of state for it, but because originally I was going for live sound. Like, I wanted to work in theater and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the major for my community college where I'm from required you to do lighting, to be able to walk up, you know, go climb ladders, change, you know, lights, all of that kind of stuff. And I couldn't do that. Like, I'm not capable of walking up a ladder.
Yeah.
Let alone a flight of stairs, so I couldn't walk up a damn ladder.
No.
And so I was like, well, shit, now what?
No.
Like this is figured what I was going to do. I was going to do live theater and, find a local theater group to work, that's what I was going to do. I was like, shit. And then, so I ended up doing audience, studio work.
Yeah.
And so like I found the school, and they were partnered with, not partnered, but they, you could get certified. You could get Pro Tools certified through the school.
Okay.
So that's what, I was like, oh, cool. Yeah, I could get Pro Tools certified. That's great.
Yeah. Having that certification really opens up a lot of doors. A lot of doors.
Yeah. I've come to find out that I could have done this. I could have bought the books and, paid to
on your own.
do the test my own. And, that's.
But you wouldn't have been able to meet people, like-minded people, going into the same field and making those connections that then help you get a job after that. Like if you do it on your own, then you're not an existential being in the world of that field. Because there you have, like you said, 500 people total in the whole place, but still that's 500 more people than 499 more people than if you were in the living room,
Oh yeah, exactly. And I mean, I don't regret going to college. I don't regret going to that college because I have super great friends still to this day.
No.
From there. But do I regret the student loans? Yes. I think everybody regrets the student loans, but it's the price you got to pay.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so like it's just one of my professors was actually like he used to work in the field, and I'm surprised that he got out of it. His name was Jason Merritt. And like he worked for Dre. He did work with Sting.
I was about to say that sounds like a big name. Like I could swear I've heard that name before.
Let me see if I can. Yeah, he worked. Shit, how did he spell it?
I think Merrit.
I think so.
Jason, right?
Yeah, Jason Merritt. I do believe that's. I have him on Facebook. Okay, that is not Jason Merritt.
Let's see, President CEO of North American Venture Capital LLC.
Nope.
Okay.
Music?
Did he ever go by the name Whip?
I don't know. Like I would have to see a picture. Of him. Like I think I still have him friends on Facebook and everything like that. But yeah, like I remember him talking about he used to have
Portland, Oregon.
I don't know. Web. No, I don't.
Yeah, because I found a guy that he was actually started in Brooklyn, my hometown. MySpace page. That's cool though. That this school that small numbers of 500 still though has someone.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's him. Not Whip.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it would be him.
It doesn't look like him.
I know I've heard that name before and seen that name before, like on
let me
like an album.
Because it's gonna bug me.
It's amazing though how like you think that like someone who's working with like such high-end people and stuff like no, they're not going to be teaching at like some school that is anywhere. They're gonna be living in a mansion. They're gonna be their Tuesday is going on vacation type deal. They're in the studio for 2 hours on a Wednesday.
I mean, that's how you spell it. You spelled it right.
That's probably why I know that name is probably because it's so widely out there.
Let's see.
I did like a really 3-page search there. I didn't find anything that looked like the name that I was thinking of. Here, I got some images up here. Oh wow! You look up Jason Merritt and check out what pops up.
Yeah, I saw that.
This is like
Mm-hmm.
Jennifer Lawrence, Taylor Swift.
Yeah, I was like, that's not. I'm pretty sure that's not Jason.
Yeah, like what is? Golly. Jason Merritt is beautiful, I gotta say.
Yeah, right? It looked a lot different back in school.
Lady Gaga's there. She is great. I love Lady Gaga. I'm a fan.
Oh yeah, I love her music.
Great
and she
music.
and she has really good she's a very good actual vocalist
Mm-hmm.
just unto herself.
I think right now my favorite is Jessie J.
Mm-hmm.
She is unbelievable, Jessie J. She did what was it? I think Asia's Got Talent or something. It's some talent show in Asia, and she was like the first like non-Asian person to actually win the whole show. And like I listened to all the songs she did, and she's unbelievable. I don't understand how she's not bigger than people like Taylor Swift, and not that Taylor's bad, but what Jessie J could do with her voice in comparison to what Taylor can do is like night and day. Jessie J could do anything with her voice. Taylor Swift, she could do pop. She could do country. She's really, really good at that. But oh man, unbelievable. But we're really in a golden age of singing. If you think about it, I mean, Jessie J, Sia, even Miley Cyrus. Like, yeah, she's done some wild things, but her voice, unbelievable what she can do. Then there's like bands like Alabama Shakes is amazing. The vocalist in that band's unbelievable, but no one knows who they are. It's unfortunate that the pop world has kind of taken over, and I do wonder if that's if you think about it, I like to combine, I like to compare things and stuff. So if you think about it in the pop world, who's big? You got the Justin Biebers, you got the Katy Perrys, you got that, and then in the Twitch world, are we going to see that correlate to the Twitch world? Is it gonna be like the ninjas, or is there gonna be chances for the non-ninjas? But I think Ninja, though, if you think about it right now, Ninja's amazing at the game, though. He's this skinny, good-looking gamer dude, crazy style, even like PewDiePie, but he is insane at the game, so it is pretty interesting how, if you look at the world of music, you have to be beautiful. If you look at the world of acting, you have to be perfect, then you look at the world of Twitch right now, and, you have to be great at the game still, I think that's really cool. I hope that never changes,
hopefully not,
I mean, some days I am I hope it does change in the fact that you could be bad at the game and still get to ninja level, like when I was playing Fortnite and stuff, and just wrecking my brain of how to win matches, and I'd get a win 1 in 8, 1 in 10 matches. I get a win, but ninja's just all right, I'll just win this one, and I'm not gonna just win it. I'm gonna trap this guy in a box, put a trap down, edit the walls, dance next to him. He wins it with style. And I'm like, oh man, that's too amazing. I can't do that.
It would be nice.
Plus my computer, though, he's got $20,000 worth of computer rig.
Oh Jesus! I don't even want to know the rig, him, Tim, Lupo, Doc. It even goes into some of the the bigger when I started streaming, I had never, I think this was even before Tim got big, was the big three that I saw on Twitch back when I first started. It was kind of the big three that I knew of because they were variety streamers, because I wasn't really big into League or any of the main games like that, like Dota and stuff, so I didn't watch any of those professional gamers. I'm sure they had the numbers, but the big three back then for me were Man vs. Game.
Oh, he was great.
Co-Carnage, and Ezekiel the Third. Those were the three big streamers that I knew of. Because it was that'd be great to be pulling those kind of numbers, but I can only imagine the setups they had that had to Like I
Well,
still watch Co.
he is
to this day.
pretty great.
Yeah, Co. Like I just he has a really just good quality. Like nothing. It's not because I've seen. I know you mentioned in the Discord the other day, like seeing like the Twitch fail compilations and everything
Yeah.
like that. Seeing if you're in one of them, kind of thing. It's like you see some of the people that just go for the shock value of the stuff that they do to
Mhm.
get viewers. I'm like, I can't, like, I'll never be able to do that. Like, that's just not me. But like Co and stuff like that, it's very chill, relaxed
Yeah.
channel, and I love it. Like, I would, I've talked to Jet and everything like that, and he's like, he loves to ask people when he finds out that they're streamers, like, where do you want to go with streaming? Like, what's your general
Mhm.
end goal with streaming? And like, realistically, my thing would be if I could get my channel to sustain itself, I would be
Mhm.
100% happy. Like, okay, cool. Like, I never would feel like I have to grow from there. Like, I don't have to turn a profit,
Yeah.
but as long as, okay, a new game comes out, I have enough revenue from the stream to cover the game.
Yeah. And also keep like a
Or,
roof over your head and
yeah. Yeah. Like, I mean, I have a job for that and everything like that,
Yeah.
that pays the bills, but something that I don't have to dig into the pockets of my paycheck from my job to buy a game, or a new monitor part on the computer goes down, something along the
Yeah.
lines of that, where streaming can cover that stuff. Like, I would be perfectly happy
Yeah.
with stopping at that point. Like, okay, cool, my channel does not have to grow. Like, I would not feel like I have to grow my channel any more than that.
Mhm.
But pulling down like what Co has, and something that you could truly say you're making a living at, would be phenomenal. But I just don't know. Like, that goes beyond the um realm of it's something I do for fun into a job. And like, until
Yeah.
you sit down and think about what everything goes in offline that they have to do, is insane. Like the post production stuff, the probably the meetings for sponsors and figuring out games and everything like that. Yeah, like Co did just has been doing Warframe because he it's sponsored, or at least originally I think he's really enjoying the game, but
Mhm.
he originally was sponsored by DE to do like an hour long stream of the game, kind of thing.
Yeah. I figured I'd pull up some footage, so
Yeah.
people could know who we are talking about here.
Yeah, see, and like we were talking about beforehand, like the green screen thing, like it's he's sitting right there, like it's his camera's out of the way. I don't think he has a 4K camera or any by any means, but like he's got a green screen. It's very well done, simple. Like his layout is very nice. Like
Yeah.
it's very minimalistic.
That's what I try and go
Minimalistic.
for on
Yeah,
mine.
yeah. Like if you look at my old stuff before I got a camera, like I had very much of the game inside a panel, and then I had a panel on the side and the bottom that had chat and a bunch of other stuff, and so you could see the whole game. But my entire stream was uh I had like a full page overlay.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah, I see one of them here.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I mean, and they were good, and one of my mods has made all of my overlays and everything like that, and they're great. Yeah, as you can see, all that red, all that muted. Oof, oof, indeed. Rip the highlights.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
gotta love looking at the past stuff, man.
oof.
It's like, oh, that's a
It's
nice
all
layout
muted.
though. Like, there's
Yeah.
a lot of streamers that do like that kind of very filled in kind of
Hmm.
feel. Like, I definitely feel like the streamers that do those pull it off perfectly fine.
Hmm.
I've been always more of like a co-Carnage layout type of guy. I like the game to be like the thing for myself, you know. But I do always look at these things, and like the only thing I think of when I see it is like, oh, it must be so annoying to update that, you know.
It is. It can be. But like I was very.
Especially if you have like new follower alert, new sub
Yeah, see, this is the
alert.
thing, I never had a new follower like ticker or anything like that for obvious reasons when certain
Oh
people
yeah,
decide
with
to
names and stuff. Yep,
yeah
yep.
yeah it's like I try to shy away from that because then that's stuck up there until
Until someone else follows.
exactly, and it's like, well, this has happened.
Yep. New follower.
Mm-hmm.
Splooge.
Yes.
Like,
And I've noticed a few of them, and it kind of comes in waves. I feel like,
yeah, it's true because I think it was that channel Top Keck on YouTube and whatnot. Like, they've come by my channel once or twice and like did a weird name follow alert and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, then you'll go through like months and you don't see it happening on your channel. You don't see it happening on other people's channels. Yeah. And then all of a sudden for like a few days, then it's like all of a sudden again, all these notifications. I think when they run out of all their video footage, you know,
they go through,
yeah, they're like, all right, let's take a few days and go back out there. Twitch back in the day, though, when I first started, the chat was insane.
I bet.
Like, you'd get pictures of the most racist images in the chat, and
I imagine,
you know, made from like taking text symbols and putting it together and it would make a picture. It was unbelievable, you know. And then you get like people coming in linking to porn sites and all these different things, and it was continuous. It was crazy. And that was before like Moobot and Nightbot, like we were talking about earlier, really came out, you know.
you had
with the auto blocker, you know. So you're sitting there modding yourself, and when you're first starting back then, like I was reading the chat off of like a really old laptop that would freeze every like 20 minutes, and I'd have to restart the stream and everything on there, you know. So that's how I was reading the chat. So like I would miss sometimes like the chat thing because I didn't know when it was frozen.
Yeah.
You know, like. And I had only the one monitor for like the gameplay and stuff, so like it was like to moderate that person, I couldn't even use that laptop to moderate from that because it was just the whole like everything was broken on it. So I'd have to window out a game, go to the chat, moderate the person, go back into the game. Like, oh, it was crazy. It was crazy.
I imagine. And that was probably what, back if it was 5 years ago or so.
Yeah,
that had to have been probably when it was actually Justin TV. Wasn't it?
No, it had just become Twitch. Not
it had
that
just
long
become
before
okay.
that, yeah.
So they had already separated, I guess.
Yeah, because they had Justin TV was still out when I started. Like it was really hard to make a Twitch account at that time. Like, because I remember my first Twitch account, I accidentally made a Justin TV account, and then I wasn't able to stream to it because it was connected to Justin TV. You know, and then they had gotten rid of Justin TV altogether, you know, and just went with Twitch. I can understand why. I mean, but now it's interesting how like Twitch started from Justin TV, and Justin TV started as a random everything. It was the equivalent of Periscope.
Yeah,
you know?
it was very much because I remember, like I was saying earlier about that arcade that my sister's friend had. They would hold like weekly Street Fighter tournaments, and they would stream it to Justin TV.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I ever heard of it. I was like, oh yeah, what's this? And I was like, you know, somebody explained to me what it was, and I was like, oh yeah, that's really cool. But I was like, yeah, but I'm sure that's probably fairly complicated to stream a game to a website to, you know, everything like that. I'm sure it's probably a little bit more complicated back then than it is now.
Oh yeah.
But
OBS didn't really exist back then. Like it was
so
you'd be using like XSplit, and that was really tough, XSplit.
yeah, so you know, I was like, yeah, that's cool. You know, I like that idea, but I was like, there's no way. I feel like you had to be like a real computer guy, you know, like new programs in and out and everything like that to be able to do stuff like that. But then it was like I never heard of it after that, and then I don't it was somebody on like my Facebook that had to have that said that they were streaming on Twitch. That I was like, oh yeah, I'll go check this out. And then, I kind of stayed.
No.
Yeah, after that. So, but I was like, I remember looking up that Justin TV was a thing, and it was a catch-all for
Yeah.
video broadcasting.
Yeah,
And
you can see anything and everything was on there. It wasn't gamer centered. It was the Twitch came out of something that was Periscope. And nowadays though, Twitch is now opening up again. It's interesting now, like Twitch is like, do whatever you want, stream whatever you want, walk around if you want to. So it's like, it's interesting how like they kind of like laser focused to now broaden the spectrum again. Really, really wild how that happened. And we're talking in the span of what, 5 years, 6 years?
And I mean, it's ever since because I remember seeing, when I started really being on Twitch a lot more, on a daily basis, found a couple of streams that I really liked.
Do you remember what like the first games was? Was it like StarCraft or?
My first game that I really watched on Twitch that I got into was Dark Souls, because I was really into Dark Souls. I was like, this is really cool. I can talk to people to get their take on the game and
see it live.
Yeah, how did you beat this boss?
Yeah,
because I don't know if you've ever played Dark Souls, but it's a
no
notoriously hard game.
Yeah,
like it's made to be hard. Like
I've had people tell me to play it, and then I ask them, so what is Dark Souls? What is this game like? And they're like, it's the most torturous experience you'll ever have with an experience of fighting that's not going to explain anything to you. It's not going to hand anything to you. And when you die, you're going to have to start back from a starting point that's way far before, and I'm like, you're not selling me this game right now. Like,
so, like, Dark Souls is an RPG, essentially.
Yeah.
And it's hard. Like, there's no hand holding in the game. There's like, there's no mini map or anything like that. You're kind of plopped into this world, at least after you essentially kind of get past the tutorial area. But once you're in the main part of the game, you're in the game. Like you can randomly wander into the 4th or 5th boss that you're supposed to be in later, or you can wander yourself. Yeah, and it's kind of like,
so it's not linear then.
No. Yeah, it's not. You can go and end up in an area that you should not be in, and it's kind of like the way the game tells you should not be in here is how quickly you die.
You walk in, something just flicks you with their finger and you die. You're like, oh, not here yet.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's very much like that. And you sit there and as you kill things, you get souls. Like, you kill a rat, you get 5 souls, you get 10 souls, whatever it is. And that's your currency in the game. Like that's how you level up your character. That's how you buy your weapons, buy your armor, everything like that. But if you die, you lose whatever souls you're carrying.
Oh wow.
And you start back at whatever there's bonfires there, so they're kind of like checkpoints.
Yeah.
And you respawn at whatever checkpoint, at whatever bonfire you last sat at. Now you have a chance to get those souls back if you can make it back to that spot without dying again.
Oh wow.
Because if you die a second time before you pick up your souls
then
from your first death, then they're just gone. So
what if, like, let's say you died on the opposite side of a boss? Do you have to run past him to pick him up to then run away from him?
Depending, like, if you die in like a boss arena, you can. The way the boss arenas usually work is a lot of times you go through a gateway, usually, or a door, and the game then puts up a fog wall. So it basically locks you into the area.
Yeah.
Now, if you run into the boss arena and you didn't manage to beat the boss, and you pick up your souls, you can leave. Like you can start and exit the game anytime you want,
Okay.
and the game will save the progress that you've made.
Okay.
So you can get out of it, or some boss fights you can actually just leave through the fog wall. You can
Yeah.
walk in and walk right back out. It's like nope, and leave.
It sounds to me though that that's something the dev forgot to like, make the blocked door for. They're like, we missed it on. We'll leave that one then.
Yeah, basically, it's FromSoft. FromSoft is like meh, why not? But it's a very hard game because it doesn't hold your hand, and if you at least in the first one, if you put your stat into strength or vitality and stuff like that, and then you realize, oh, I didn't want it to put that point into, or those souls into strength, you're kind of SOL. Like you,
really?
you now have strength. You can't redo your character. Now they changed that in 2 and 3, but in the first one, could.
So they started to bend a little bit, like but
like
even that's not that much. Like
yeah. I mean, it's still like the game is still hard, and the playing is still hard, and it's very much a game that you learn by getting beat into submission. It's like, okay, well, don't roll that way. Okay, well, I died, so guess what? Not rolling that way. Or, well, magic doesn't work on this boss. Well, guess I'm gonna have to try for strength or something.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fun game. It's just not one that holds your hand.
Yeah. I can understand that being frustrating. I can understand that as a streamer to be. I would be kind of intimidated to stream a game like that, to be honest, because since it's not holding your hand, and if you respawn and you lose all the souls, now you're not being able to buy upgrades and progress, like making your character stronger, making it easier for you to beat that boss even. I could see it. I would be intimidated in the fact of, like, if you fail at that, you really fail.
Yeah, you do. It's not an easy game, but the community around Dark Souls is really good. Like Dark Souls used to be basically like my main thing that I would come into, and they're really good at, like, well, okay, if you're streaming and you have problems, somebody that's played the game, like I have. Let me pull up Steam. Like I just bought the remastered version on Steam. They just came out with a few months ago, or about a month or two ago, the remastered first Dark Souls. So I have games. Wow, I have too many games.
I'll pull it up here.
Let's see. Dark Souls. In the first Dark Souls, I have 92 hours. Second Dark Souls, I have 92 hours. Third one, I have 292 hours.
Wow. Yo, that just came out in like May 23rd there.
Yeah.
Wow. Is it multiplayer? I see multiplayer here.
It is. The multiplayer, it's really weird. The second and third one got the multiplayer down perfectly. The second one was a little bit better. The third one, or the first one, originally was shit-tastic in multiplayer. So what you do for the multiplayer is you have a thing called a soapstone. And it basically looks like a giant piece of chalk.
Okay.
And if you wanted to do co-op, you basically say, okay, put your sign down. And the game just puts a glowing symbol on the ground. And if say your level between levels 1 to 10, that sign will show up for anybody that is playing online between levels 1 through 10.
Okay.
And they can summon you into their game.
But they have to be at that spot in the world, though.
Yes. Yeah, where you put the sign down is where your sign shows up in their game.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really interesting, especially for the, the immersiveness of something like that. Like that the people that are there have to be doing the same thing as you to be there in the first place.
Yep.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. Now, in the third one, multiplayer got a lot better because levels didn't matter. The game would, like, if you're a new beginner in the game, and I'm obviously played it a lot more, it would adjust my power strength and everything down to your level.
Okay.
So, I wouldn't walk in there and be doing tons of damage. I'd be obviously doing more, but
Yeah.
It would relegate or mitigate the amount of damage I could do in your game.
That makes sense. You bring the powerful down to the weaker level instead of giving the weaker level a chance to be doing what the powerful level can do. Then they'd also be getting more XP and probably stuff. And that makes sense.
Yeah, and in the third one, it was kind of, in the first one, it was like you hope that your sign shows up on your buddy server kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a mixed bag on whether or not you could actually play with a friend. But in the third one, there's a password system. If you want only you and your buddies to play, you could put a password lock on your sign, so only those people's signs would show up.
Yeah.
So
like kind of like an address.
Yeah, the third one is great for multiplayer because it was like, boom, okay, signs down. Where is it? Here it is. Password, boom, done. You're good.
Yeah.
So, but then there's another aspect to it of, okay, then there's the trolley aspect of the game as I can go into, there's an item called a red eye, a cracked red eye and everything like that. And I can use a cracked red eye. I can leave my game, invade somebody else's game, and do PvP.
Oh, you just go kill the person.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So there's the trolley aspect of the game as well.
So like, you'll just be like questing. You're walking around. You've just fought the same boss like 5 times. You're already stressed. And then out of nowhere, here comes this guy. Just comes in and kills you. Oh, man.
That can't happen.
They really took the we're not going to hold your hands and brought it into every aspect of that game.
Yeah. I mean, there's ways to get around it. Obviously, you can play in offline mode, but then obviously you can't summon people for co-op.
Yeah.
So
then it would actually work negative too, whereas let's say you go to someone's server and they've got a friend with them. And you walk up on them and they're like, "Oh, look at you! You're all alone."
Oh yeah,
and get housed there.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I've invaded people, and I mean I'm not the greatest at PvP, so I never really did too many invasions. But like I can invade people, and if they have co-op with 2 other people, that's 3 people I'm trying to fight while doing, So it's like I could be F to the A, or I could come in and, it'd be one-on-one kind of thing. So it's a very interesting game.
Sounds like no game that I've heard of recently, but it does intrigue me though. Like Fallout 76 coming out, it does kind of sound a little bit like what they're kind of talking about in that, except that Fallout 76 is kind of, you don't have to have an item to get to someone's server. It sounds like they'll just auto load into a server, and if they happen to be on your server, then they could do whatever they want. But that sounds interesting, like a single player game that the multiplayer aspect is not a focus, but it's a tool you can use. And it's more so a tool you can use if you really just know someone. I imagine that, it depends on the time of day. If you put down that flag, you might not find people for probably a while. You know, I can imagine
Oh,
that
yeah.
being stressful, you know, especially if you try and do a boss fight, you don't know how to do it, trying to figure it out, you
Mhm.
know. I can understand why people get stressed, but I definitely can absolutely understand why that would be like your first game of watching on Twitch. Now, I think that like a game like that is absolutely fulfilled by what Twitch is, you know. That's
Yeah.
like I can imagine how mind blowing it was to be like, oh wow, I could find out how to kill this boss and
Mhm.
talk to people, and now also find people to play this with. Like,
Mhm.
you know, wow, that must have been cool. That must
Yeah,
have been cool.
it was very much of like, get their take on it, because like I said, it's a very open-ended game, and it's like, well, do you prefer playing as a mage or a tank, or do you try to do glass cannon? Do you
Mm.
like, how do you play it versus the way that I play it? And
Hmm.
talking like the one of the first streamers that I became a regular in is uh, uh British. Like he used to be known as British, then now he's Thick Daddy
Ah.
Brit. Um, he's one of Gents mods.
Oh
Uh,
really?
yeah, yeah. And I became a regular in his chat before, and I still a mod in his chat, and I'm still friends with him and everything like that after 2 or 3 years of doing this, of being around Twitch. And so it's like I legitimately made a really good friend
Hmm.
through doing this.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
It was Eddie British.
No, just British. It used to be British. It used to be BR1T1SH, but
Oh,
now but now it's Thick Daddy Brit.
Thick Daddy. I gotta
Thick
look at this.
Daddy Brit. Yeah, with two C's.
Okay. Found it.
Yep. That's what he was.
He's
What he like.
hosting someone.
He mained in Dark Souls back then. Like that was his thing, was Dark Souls.
He's rocking a beard, man. Gotta love people to rock the beard.
We should talk for a while about
Oh yeah, he
things.
did.
Would
And
you
he,
like
he
that?
like he's a variety
Charm
streamer
him
too.
or strike
Like
him?
he does.
He's
a whole
not
bunch of
British
stuff.
though.
Charm.
No, he's not.
We could already
False
rock- all that
advertising.
shit, already
His name is Britain.
Oh wow, that's a wild name.
Yeah, but in that stream that you were just watching, this stream right here that you showed up, he's actually in the UK.
Oh wow, okay.
Yep.
So it was
it's
like it was meant to be from when
Yeah,
he
this-
was born.
yeah, this right here is Dark Souls.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can see like where to run and jump and everything like that, and it's stamina management, and
Wow.
it's really is a
No.
Yeah.
crazy game.
Looks like he's stuck in there.
Yeah, it's just trying to get.
It's wild seeing the old graphics too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean the textures are pretty good.
Shit.
You know,
Where am I even
but
Yeah,
getting
like
this?
wow.
Yeah, and like I said, the remaster, they just upped the graphics and everything like that.
Oh
But
god,
it was
no. Fuck you, dude.
It reminds me a lot of like I've been playing God of War recently.
mm-hmm.
You know, the new God of War, I should say.
Yeah,
You know, it reminds me a lot of that. Just sounds like way harder. Oh, he died.
Yeah, exactly.
Like-
It's like you get, you mess up and you're done
yeah.
for.
Now you're screwed. I'm gonna hit that follow button.
So it's definitely worth. The community is great around it. You'll definitely have people that will pop in and give you, that will help and everything like that. So
Well, I
it's-
imagine like everyone's kind of, like drawn around a fire together of just getting beat down by the game. It's like
yeah,
there's no point in talking crap to someone. We've all been destroyed by this game.
Yep.
Like it doesn't sound like the type of game that like often someone walks into it and just goes ham and beats it in like one play. Like it definitely seems like the type of game that there's definitely an uphill battle. Whereas something like God of War, though, yeah, you could go through that and just beat the game in one playthrough. I would imagine, and then as you're leveling and getting stronger, you can go back to things that you couldn't beat But so far, it doesn't seem like anything in the storyline is not beatable. I mean, you might die a few times, but you're not losing your progress at all. You know, it just instantly respawns you right back at that boss or whatnot. You can walk in, reactivate it, you know, and you're good to go.
It's very, like, I tell people, you know, if you're wanting to give it a try, kind of thing, like, oh yeah, I would really like to play the second one first.
So the storyline doesn't like get messed up.
Yeah, it's very convoluted. It's really weird. Like, there's entire YouTube channels dedicated to figuring out the storyline and how everything.
So that's not really then like God of War. The story is like the main focus. Like,
yeah, no, the story, like, it's a very good story, but it's very convoluted and twisted. So it's more about the gameplay and overcoming the game itself as to the reason to play it. Because at some point playing it gets to like, I'm gonna beat this thing one way or the other. Like, I'm just gonna have to freaking do it. Like, you just suck it up and you play the game until you get past X, Y, and Z part. So it kind of becomes, I'm gonna beat this game, the game's not gonna beat me, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
I wonder if any Twitch streamer has tried to beat the game and ended up streaming on Twitch for like a year, 2 years, like, and just not beating the game though. Like, I wonder what the longest time span was of like someone playing that game without beating it, but like also streaming the journey.
there is, like, he still streams. His name used to be The Hobbit.
The Hobbit.
The Hobbit, yes.
From there and back again.
Yeah. He's now The Hob, I think. Or just Hob. I think it's just HOB, it should be. But he was the first person to ever play the Dark Souls 1 without getting hit whatsoever.
Really?
Yep. Yeah, there was somebody did an article on him. I think it was Kotaku or something like that, or somebody did an article on the fact that he beat the game without taking a single hit.
He must be beyond famous for that.
It was ridiculous when that happened.
How long did it take him to do that, though?
I don't even know. Forever. It took him a long time to learn every.
There's so many Hob people on this list.
Let's see. I think he's Irish, so should be following him. I think I should.
There's one thing I like about my name. Like, once you type in like FEA, pretty much I pop up. There's not that many.
Oh, no, sorry. The Happy Hob.
The Happy Hob, okay.
The Happy Hob is what his name is now. Yeah, so it's the_happy_hob.
Oh, underscore. So why do people use these underscores?
I don't know.
Make life hard. Then again, this person's probably a very hardcore person to beat that game with no hits. All right, let's see.
It's insane.
What do we got? Dark Souls 3, The Happy Hob.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll say, like, right now I'm staring at the chat, playing with peripheral vision.
Staring at the chat, playing with peripheral vision, I just heard him say.
Mm-hmm.
That is tough to do, I tell you.
Oh,
Play the game.
And like he knows the game back and forth, like in and out. Like this is the second game. This is Dark Souls 2.
It'll make me be more aware when there's enemies around.
Yeah, he's really not looking at the game right now. I could tell he's doing the side-eye gameplay there. You know, because like the eyes open up more. You're trying to get in more light to the eyeball. You know, like, try to do it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's.
I like it. He's got good music in the background. Nice, like laid-back music. Rocking the green screen there. I love, look at the chat there, that H in the chat there, that golden H. Oh man, that's beautiful.
Yeah, he's really funny actually. Like he's an Irish streamer, and just like his commentary on the game is funny.
He kind of looks like Man vs. Game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Very similar.
Mm-hmm.
For those who haven't seen Man vs. Game, I'll look that up.
Oh man, I love Man's voice. Like Man vs. Game, like he has like the perfect radio announcer voice kind of thing.
Very similar looking people.
Mm-hmm.
I felt so terrible for him though. You know, when he kind of like came out with like his life issues and stuff.
Yeah.
Felt so terrible. You could tell he was someone who was like pushing himself to the limit there, you know, to do a thing, and what he was doing was so wild and so crazy.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, and he was back when I first started. Like he was, you know, him, Ko, and Ezekiel were kind of the big three that I ever knew of, and you know, doing streaming for as many hours as he did every day, and just something had to give, unfortunately.
No.
And I like the fact he's working his way back to where he used to be, and that's good. Like he's, you know, he's like, all right, well, I went through this, you know, and coming back from it, and that's great.
Mm-hmm.
So, but
it's wild. I mean, those are some of the, like the originals to Twitch. You know, they're like I guess they're like the Philip DeFrancos of Twitch.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
They're the olden people. You know? Even though I was streaming about the same time they were. Yeah.
Yep.
But hey, they did amazing things that I have definitely deigned to achieve. Like,
yeah.
I
like
hope I could do.
Yeah, and he's I think him and Ko maybe, or all three of them. I think they grew up in out in Texas, I do believe. Like they I think they actually know each other IRL kind of thing.
Wow, that'd be wild.
Yeah. So they kind of came up.
I never met like I don't no one I know streams on Twitch. Like no one. Like it's wild. Like, and as a New Yorker, you think there's people on every other block, you know?
Yeah, you would think you would see people doing IRL streams like every day down the street.
Yeah, it's like you never see, but I think was Iceman or whatever his name is.
Ice Poseidon.
Ice Poseidon, yeah, that's it.
Oh god.
Like he came to New York once, and I was like,
Oof.
you know, like, oh, he's doing his thing. And Andy Milanakis came to New York, I think, once on there. But yeah, it's surprising. And New York State, you don't need people to sign off on recording or anything. Yeah, it's like it's a one-party state. You can record a conversation in New York State and not have to tell the other person. You know,
oh wow,
it's so you could stream and do whatever you want. You just can't go into a store and stream. You know, as long as it's not private property, you're fine. So it always amazes me that a big city like New York, people aren't grabbing their cell phone camera and just walking around. Like, there's so much funny stuff that happens in New York.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
I've wanted to do it, but that's just, I don't know. Then you get the worries of getting, like, swatted while you're out in public. You know, there's always someone who wants to do some, like, shenanigans like that, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't want to mess with that. Mess with that at all.
It's yeah, doing that, and then I don't know if I could do IRL, because then you have to look at the cell phone bill, unless you get like a Wi-Fi hotspot kind of thing going on.
Well, I have actually unlimited everything, luckily.
Oh, okay.
I have like this old, like, my family plan from back. I used to work for Radio Shack. So the second they had unlimited everything, I was like, yes, give me that. And then they keep on trying. Like, they convinced my mom once, because, like, I give her my portion of the bill, you know, and then she pays for it under her name so that we keep the account, you know. And they called her up once and convinced her to get a 20 gigabyte internet deal.
Nope.
I was like, she's like, yeah, I got this new cell phone plan. It's $40 cheaper. And I was like, oh, what is the things for it? And she's like, yeah, they say it's like unlimited calling, unlimited texting, but it's 20 gigs a month. I figured that's more than enough. I was like, no, I'll use that in one day.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
and then I explained to her like the bit rate on Twitch or even YouTube, like YouTube 16,000, you know,
Oh, God, yeah.
bit rate on the videos. You use it in a day. you know?
Oh yeah, it's not like that's what I like. It sounds bad, but I don't watch streams at work because I have to do. You know, the Wi-Fi sucks at work,
Mm.
and there's no way I'm watching a stream.
Yeah, on the cell phone plan.
Yeah, yeah, and I've noticed, unlimited plans are starting to kind of come back.
Hopefully,
'Cause,
yeah.
Verizon, I think now has a unlimited plan again.
Mm-hmm.
Because we had it for a while, for the longest time, and then it went away. Then it was like, if you want a new phone, you have to sign up for a data plan.
Yeah.
And at the time, they had just gotten rid of it, and so it was, well, we'll give you a deal instead of 3 gigs or whatever it was a month. We'll give you like 6 gigs or something like that. It was like, we'll basically double your gigs for the same amount of money that the regular 3 gig price was. And that's what we currently have. But I saw the other day a commercial for unlimited for Verizon. So I was like, I wonder if people are starting to, they're like, well, wasn't probably the best idea to get rid of it. So
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people are pretty pissed off when they get their plan and they're like, why is it like another $200? It's like, well, do you not remember why the late 90s and the early 2000s sucked? Like I remember when I was growing up and you went over your plan and your phone call time for 20 minutes and that was like another $40 on your plan, because you had it was like 1,200 minutes a month you could use unless it was after 9 p.m. Then you had unlimited. And everyone forgets what it was like back then. And when I first saw like these internet fettered plans, I was like, this is a step backwards though. We just got to unlimited. Like we got to the promised land. Like
you would think it would be the other way around, but nope.
Yeah, it's like, but that's the ISPs though. That's all, my fear right now is that what the new plans are going to be is like, yes, you can have unlimited, but as long as you sign up for this plan that involves YouTube, Netflix, Hulu, Twitch, but if it's a website that's not those, then you're fettered to like 5 gigs a month.
Yeah.
Which then it's going to kill the potential for new sites and new apps and new things to come out, which would suck. Which would absolutely suck.
Oh yeah, it would.
Golly.
It's gonna be interesting, especially with
net neutrality and stuff.
Yeah, net neutrality and all that. Oof. Like most people are like, it's not gonna do anything. Well, yeah, it's not gonna do anything right off the bat.
Yeah, we're the frogs going into the slow cooker right now. It's gonna be one thing, and then it's gonna be another thing, and the next thing you know, the state of the internet's nothing like it was before. And
yeah, exactly. And it's like, but it breeds, competition and for new ISPs. Like, no, it won't.
How are they going to exist?
I was like, do you realize there are only literally like 3 internet companies in this entire country?
Mm-hmm. And a lot of places only have one option right now anyway.
Yeah, our area did for the longest time. When I was growing up, when we lived here, Cox Communications had, their deal with our area. It was boom. That's it. That's all you had. You either had Cox or you got satellite.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, satellite's always like the backup option, but it never works right.
No, because it's like you get a storm and forget about doing anything.
Mm-hmm. I mean, good luck streaming. You're not going to have a stable connection to ever do an actual stream with that.
Yeah, exactly. So it was like we had Cox for the longest time, but then Verizon, Fios came through. And that was only 2 years ago.
Wow.
And I've lived here for 20 some odd years.
Wow.
So it was like, we now have Fios, and I love Fios.
Oh, it's
But
amazing. I have it too. It's
yeah,
amazing.
I love FiOS, and I have like 100 and some odd down and 100 and some odd up.
I have gigabit.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we didn't quite go that route, but
I just have
did-
tons of internet problems. I had cable before this. We only have two options here: cable or FiOS. So you're either getting fiber optic or you're getting cable. So I had cable, and since they daisy chain it and you're connected to all the modems near you, Joe Schmo 2 houses away from me, if they unplug their modem, now I can't stream because there's noise in the line and I can't get a stable connection, And I was calling them out to the house like every other week. And, you try and build a community on Twitch. You're trying to have a stable channel that they know will be up at X time, or at least when you are up, that you're not, dealing with your channel going down all the time. It's hard to do. And I'm like, man, you guys are killing me here. Like,
yeah, so it's like, yeah, it technically, yeah, it can breed competition, but the ISPs are so that have the foothold are so big. There's no way you could have a startup and ever succeed without net neutrality.
and plus, these companies are signing deals where, Netflix won't be able to be on a competitor's platform, for a service provider, so then what are you going to do? Like, now they're not competing because this made a deal with, Verizon. So, now you're screwed.
And unfortunately, it's like, well, Netflix didn't have to sign the deal. Netflix didn't really have a choice if they want to succeed.
Yeah.
Like they'd be like, that's fine. We're not going to let any of our, subscribers watch Netflix, or it will be super laggy or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to be at the bottom.
They'll throttle it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you can be on our platform, but you're going to be down at the bottom of the priority list here.
And to any company that would come out, most of the internet backbone, like, I know there's these things called tracerts you can do to see the individual hops that your connection goes through to get to a website. So I do a tracer to like Twitch, back when I was having the internet issues, and I'd see that part of the backbone would go over Comcast lines or even Verizon lines when I didn't have Verizon. So even though you don't have these companies own like some of the roads that the internet goes on. So if they decide to fetter a certain site, they'll fetter it on their lines, not just on their platform of internet service providership. So they could be throttling on other platforms. They could be screwing the other company over. So you're a new company, you're not going to be able to make the whole backbone of all the internet lines and connect it straight to the government internet, and everything, You're going to get throttled left and right. These companies aren't going to play fair. They never have,
No, they're not in this to play fair. They're in it to make money.
Yeah. I do believe they're like the South Park episode when they're like rubbing themselves, like, so you had a problem with your internet?
Yeah.
Like, tell me about it.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. That's exactly the way it is. And like I said, it's not gonna be like, if it, I know that the FCC canceled it, but I know it's being fought for in Congress and everything like that. But
yeah.
if if it fails there, it's not going to be like, oh, well, okay, the next day there's this huge change and everything. Like, it's not going to do that.
No.
The ISP, like, that will destroy all Comcast and Time Warner and all those kind of things. So, like, those companies will get destroyed if they changed all of a sudden overnight, if they changed all their stuff. But if they be like, okay, well, here's this deal. Like, okay, well, you want to renew your contract, you kind of have to pick one of these plans now.
Yeah.
Or like, okay, well, oh wow, you've noticed that Hulu or Netflix have been lagging. Well, here are these options for faster internet.
Yeah.
It's going to be a very slow change where it's going to become the norm, so no one's going to notice it.
Yeah. Just like when we lost unlimited internet on the cell phones.
it wasn't slowly. It was like, well, because I know there was a couple of companies, or at least I know of one that was like, oh, you may not have unlimited data, but you can watch Hulu
Yeah.
and it won't count towards your data.
Well, AT&T actually just did that, where
Yeah. Okay.
now you're getting, I believe it's Netflix for free. You
Mhm.
know, if you get like the streaming package for like streaming programs, you know, and then you get unlimited internet. I think it was with Hulu and
Mhm.
YouTube, you know. So, but they're doing on the cell phones, because since that's not the landlines,
Yeah.
it's like a different like rule set underneath the laws, so they can do
Yeah.
it that way.
Yeah. And so it's ISPs are going to be kind of like that,
No.
and then it's eventually people are going to need the internet, especially nowadays with uh at my job. Like I have kids that come into my job and everything like that, and uh talking to some of the younger, like the teenagers and stuff like that, they're like, yeah, I have homework, they have tablets or laptops or like Chromebooks and stuff like that. I'm like, do you realize I had to carry around like 8 freaking books
Yeah.
to class?
Mm-hmm.
And you're telling me that like your homework is on your Chromebook, like your school just gave you a Chromebook. Like, are you kidding me right now? So when, back when the internet was, became more of a daily thing, there were still kids that didn't have internet.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, well, okay, what do? When it became doing research papers came less of going to the library to look at books to more of doing research online. Some kids couldn't do that, so they had to go to the library. But it's like, what happens now when everything, like you turn in your homework, you do everything online?
No.
The ISPs now are blocking all this stuff.
No.
What do you do?
It's like, oh, I didn't get my homework in on time because I was getting throttled from the uploader, so
Yeah, it's like, I can't afford to do this. So like, what do you want me to do?
yeah. Well, I think it allows ISPs to, in a way, blackmail any website creator or any database creator to say, like, look, if you want the fast lane to compete against Netflix and all the rest of them that are getting all of the connection speeds, you're gonna have to pay X amount of money. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's giving the companies the ability to really have ownership over that,
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, it would be different if if we had more ISPs.
Yeah.
Because like I've talked to a couple of people and or I've read comments on things talking about net neutrality in like the UK. It's like the guy who's like, I look at my window and throw a stone and hit 10 different ISPs
Mm-hmm.
right in my street, kind of thing.
Yeah,
But it's
their
like,
lines are like underneath the road too. They're not on like
Yeah.
poles and stuff.
yeah, and it's like, they have a lot more ISP options than we do. Yeah, we
Mhm.
may have, Comcast, Time Warner, Verizon, Google, Cox. It may look like we have a lot of these ISP companies, but then if you look at it, a lot of those ISP companies are owned by one company.
Mhm.
The thing is, like, Comcast is like the biggest. It's like Comcast, Cox, and
AT&T was just trying to buy out Time Warner even,
mhm.
and it got shut down just because it was going to make an absolute monopoly.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know.
that's like why Disney. I'm pretty sure why Disney didn't buy Fox Sports, since they already own ESPN.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Yeah.
so it's like, there's Comcast, there's Verizon. I think Cox is still by itself,
I think so. I'm trying to
Um,
Google it.
and then Google. Thank God for Google, because they're all for net neutrality.
Mhm. Oh wow, we've got
It's-
one here of There's a picture of what it looks like in plans in SmartNet. Is from another country. get your messaging, your social media apps.
Yeah,
You know, your video.
I think that's like a South American.
Portuguese mobile
Portuguese.
phone company.
Yes, yeah, I remember that picture took a huge.
Twitch is on there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
gonna be
that-
spending $5 a month just to be able to load Twitch, YouTube, Netflix, Periscope there. And
Yep.
then you're gonna have to probably pay the $5 a month. You're not gonna want to pay the $5 a month to subscribe to someone on Twitch. Then you're not gonna want to pay the $10 a month or $14 a month for Netflix because you're already paying $5 a month. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's what I'm afraid it can turn into.
Even email. Look at that. Google Mail is on there.
Is on a different one. Yeah.
Yeah, $5. Google Drive even. I use Google Drive every day. Every day I'm sending. If I'm making a clip from the channel, I'm sending it to my phone to then upload it to like Instagram. You know, I use that every day. That's crazy.
Yeah, and then as you can see, there's Spotify. There's everything is on its own. So it's like if you want to use one program out of each of those, you have to buy the entire package.
And what I don't get is it's not like they don't have the bandwidth. Like I don't feel like everyone I've talked to about it is saying that there's more than enough internet to go around. It's not like we're at a point in internet where there's not enough of it. It's that it's costing more money because it's taking more electricity nowadays to do it. But we have the lines, the capability. Everyone can have internet. Like everyone can have internet. It's just going to cost more money, you know. So why not just let it cost more money? But like kind of having plans like we saw there is like the ISP taking ownership of types of existential content that exists, whether or not that ISP exists. Like what my, you know, like in college, my degree was in philosophy. So when I think about it from a logic standpoint is a website, a server, and everything is going to exist whether or not the ISP exists. So the ISP shouldn't be able to control that thing. The ISP should only be able to control what it is itself, and what it is itself is just the road to get connected to that other thing out there. So they should only be able to charge you to be able to walk on the road, not to act like, you know, get to the place that's there. Like there shouldn't be a toll to get to the place that's there, you know. Like tolls only exist on roads to fix the road, but you don't have to pay a monthly to have roads exist in the United States of America. You know what I'm saying? The roads will exist. We pay taxes, yes, and a lot of that money goes towards it. Like if you get a ticket, you know, some of that money will go towards like the police, it'll go towards the municipals and stuff, you know, and the roads, you know, but you're not paying a monthly cost for roads to exist and then paying a toll to get off the road. You know, like, yeah, you pay the toll and those things go towards it. You know, so the ISP wants to charge you to even just step on the road, and then it wants to charge tolls for you to be able to go to the places you want to go. And then it's going to charge tolls to those places that exist for themselves to be on the road too, you know, because they're charging Netflix every month. They're charging these, you know, different website companies, app companies, and everything. So they are just charging every single step on it. It's blackmail in a way. It's like, hey, we have this thing that you need. You know, what if a hospital needs it? What is it? How's a hospital going to pay to exist? You know, on the internet.
Exactly.
You know, there's CAT scans that are like 20 gigs large. You know, and what if they need to send that over from one hospital to another? Oh, but they couldn't afford their, you know, crazy amount to get the fast speed internet. So no, you go and die in the other hospital because they couldn't send that 20 gig file over for the doctor to see.
And see, and that's the thing. There's like people are like, well, you know, net neutrality wasn't always around. Yeah, net neutrality wasn't always around, but the internet wasn't what it is back then. It was, there was a thing, yeah, but it was mainly emails. It was, you know, corporate stuff. Your life was not on. There wasn't social media. There wasn't, you know, streaming video and music, and every aspect of your life essentially was not in one way or another around the internet.
No.
It was, so yeah, net neutrality wasn't as needed back then. Like now, net neutrality, the way it's basically for, I'm sure everybody that's probably listening or watching this knows, net neutrality, it's the internet is treated as a utility.
Mm-hmm.
It is classified right now, as of right now, it is classified as a utility. So the ISPs can't do exactly like you were saying. They can charge you for the use of it, just like you use the water in your house and, everything like that. And, every other utility, the electricity and water and heat and da 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 da. But they can't, like you said, put a toll for you to use it.
No.
They can charge you to use it, but they can't charge you to use if you wanted hot water. They can't charge you extra to use hot water or cold water. So every website is treated equally.
No.
So it's gonna be so crazy.
I do wonder though, like when you compare it to things like that though, like even like the water thing, what if water was privatized?
Exactly.
I wonder if that would change it out,
And that's the thing. It's like, the government does not need to regulate the internet. Yeah, it does. When there's literally only 3 companies essentially.
Well, is it regulating the internet then? If there's only 3 companies that are the only things giving the internet to the people, is it regulating the internet or is it regulating companies?
It's regulating companies onto what they're allowed to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's right now the government has the right to sit there and say, no, you cannot charge so and so to look at this website.
Yeah.
And everything like that. So it's like
I wonder then if net neutrality is getting taken away, because I mean it has been, the mentality of the American government for a long time, laissez-faire, hands off when it comes to business. Like we're only going to tell you what to do insofar as like, are you causing harm or whatnot? Like, they don't like to step in. But I don't, like you said, the internet is a utility. It's not, you're not selling widgets. You're selling a utility. You're selling a service. They should only be focused on that service, and let's say if it was water. So let's say there's too many things that now use water. Let's say computers ran off of water. So let's say instead of internet, let's call it water. So everyone's personal computers are using up more water these days than they ever did before, and the lines are just not big enough to send enough water to get to all those things. So then that causes things to run worse, but they want to be able to provide a better experience so you can still experience your movies, but there's not enough water for you to see the movies in the way you want to see it. I don't think that they could ever then say, we need to now charge more money for it. It's just, what can you provide? So they need to start making larger water lines. That would be the first thing I would think of. Make stronger water lines so that more water can get there. Not now we need to just charge you for this and that, and charge the people who are sending the water, charge people using the water, charge, every which way and everything. And then at the same time still sit there and say, only certain water sources are going to exist.
Yes.
I think that's a better way of looking at it. Just call it water instead of internet. Because then when you call it that, it's like, don't touch my water, bro. Why you touch my water?
Put it into a different... Because people are... especially people that don't really think about it like that. It's like, oh, the internet's it's going to be there no matter what. Yeah, it's
maybe.
It's not going to go anywhere. It's just... you're going to start being charged for a lot more stuff than what you probably realize.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, we were looking at that. I mean, let me see if I can pull that back up.
It's like, that's fine. It's like, oh, I just usually, I watch TV and I only really use it for my email. Well, that's fine. But this isn't just about you. Like, there's some people that, like content creators, like YouTubers and streamers and
Mm.
there's this whole new generation of content creators that need a larger that need an open internet to be able to do what they do for a living, or startups or whatever. And it's like that don't have the revenue, or don't feel the need to have all this other stuff. But it's like, well, then you're snuffing out potential revenue for startup companies or
No.
content creators. That's like, what do I don't know.
Well,
It's
this
so-
one here, like you look at this one,
Mhm.
and it's not letting me zoom in on it, sadly. Oh, maybe I could zoom in this way. Okay. So we got like, it shows this one, you got like BBC, you got different
Mhm.
channels. It's got some Russian channels on it, but even Reddit. So let's say you want to do Reddit, boom, $5. Let's say you also want to get the news, boom, $5.
Yep.
Now you want YouTube. But like you were mentioning though about the new things existing, it even has video games, World of Warcraft. Now you're paying $5 on top of your $15 a month on top of, what you're paying for the plan anyway.
Yeah.
It starts at 20. You're just paying $29.95 just for it to start with. Now you're adding on $10 here, $5 there, another $5 just to play, and that's just World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Like that's not all of the Blizzard titles. It's like, oh, what if now you want to play Overwatch? Now how are you going to switch that over?
Exactly.
Like that's not included in there. But yeah, the thing that's not stated is, what about the new websites? What about the new apps? What about the new programs? What about anything that? What's the next step? Like, are we like Facebook's not going to be around forever? That's already dwindling away. We saw MySpace die, Friendster
exactly.
die. Like, how many different website things have died? They're private companies. They don't need to be made solidified, like in such a way. Like, look at this, Yahoo search is on here. You're paying $5 a month to use frickin' Yahoo search, to have a search engine.
Yeah, and it looks like, and it's just like,
what do you
so
do
all
if you don't
those-
pay that $5? You can't Google something anymore.
Exactly. And
What
it's
is
like,
that?
what do you the startup companies, like you said, like the next big thing, where how's that going to even get going if it's having to pay to be on the internet?
Yeah, they're not going to be able to exist.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, unless you have the revenue to back it up, and it's like, it's something like, if you start a business, you essentially have to have the revenue to, it was something like 5 or 10 years. You have to have the amount of revenue to keep that business going for 5 to 10 years without turning a profit before it becomes like a sustainable thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you essentially have to say you're gonna, for the next 5 to 10 years or something. This is like 5 to 10 or 5 to 7 or something like that.
Yeah.
That you're gonna either take a loss or just break even
Mm-hmm.
on a startup company to do that. And so it's like, well, okay, well, if that startup company is Twitch, say, or the next big thing to Twitch, and it's like, well, okay, if you have the infrastructure of the servers and the everything like that you have to keep up, okay, now you have to now pay just to be online if your company is online in general.
Mm-hmm.
How is that even gonna, and that's the thing, and that's like, where are you gonna advertise to? Because if some of these people don't have the package to be able to advertise on Google, okay, well, if people don't have the package to be able to look at Google, that's part of your target audience that may not see it.
That's a good point. What if they only have the package that they can use Facebook on?
Yeah, exactly.
How they're going to
Okay.
find out about it.
Yeah, so it's like, you're missing out on your target audience or potential target audience if they don't have access to where you're advertising your company.
I think that's really interesting. Actually, I think that's actually a really important point that could be missed, is that with this package styled internet, like most likely what they'll do, I think, is just like the cell phone plans where you get like 10 gigs a month or something, some like insanely low amount that you'll use up in a day. You know, so you can still use those websites, but you have to use it sparingly. You know.
Well, that's the thing. Like capping already exists. Like there's some ISPs
well, on the
that
cell
already
phones,
cap.
yeah.
Well, no, like regular ISPs
Oh,
that
really?
already cap. I think so. They'll start to throttle.
Oh yeah, you know what? It's true. Because when I was getting my internet installed, I think I have a recording of it even, because I started recording all the visits when they were coming. You know, New York, one party state, gotta love it. And the guy had said to me once, like, it was something like, it was a high number for what mine was. He said it was like something like 200 gigs a month. But he said you'll get throttled after that point.
Yeah.
You know, and like, I mean, I'm paying a pretty penny to have gigabit internet in New York right now.
No,
you
I
know?
imagine. Yeah.
Like, I don't, you know, but I do move a lot. I mean, as a gamer, I mean, with Steam, you know, I mean, every single day you sign on, you're moving a couple of gigs through the internet, you know, just from the daily updates and games, you know. But if you think about it, like, you know, if you have a family household, every single day those kids, they're probably playing games on their tablets, on their cell phones, on their computer. You know, if every one of those devices update every single day, the cap has to be terabytes large for it to be even reasonable.
Like, I want to sit there and look at, I think there's a way to look at how much monthly
usage,
internet you can use, or you can see how much that you've used.
Yeah, you have to go into your like account to see the.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I'm afraid to look, because I like right now I have 1, 2, 3 streams open, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
6K bit rate per
9, 10, 11, 12, 13 tabs open of various stuff. And so it's like, and then, that doesn't count the games that I've played, or Discord, or, you know, my email updating, or, you know, anything like that. So it's like, I don't want to know how many terabytes of information I've probably used. So I can guarantee I use more than anybody else in this household.
What's going to be interesting, though, I think, is that people are so used to the cell phone plan numbers right now, because they don't realize that cell phone internet, like, the websites that load on the cell phone apps and stuff don't load as much stuff. Like, they're much more fine-tuned to not have all the bloat and everything. Whereas computers in your home, tablets in your home even, they're unlocked. They bring on all the bloat. They're sending you the highest quality packets, like, you know, sound files. You're getting 300-something kilobytes per second of sound files. You're getting, and like with Twitch, 6,000 bit rate at the max, to YouTube 16,000 bit rate. You know, you're getting so much info. Even your emails, the images that are loading are, you know, hundreds of megs, you know, just for that one email. All your apps that are updating, all your games, all your everything. You add all those things together, there's going to be no cap that they could really have that will be large enough to make sense and be usable in the way we use the internet right now. And what I was saying earlier, my intrigue is that if you only have like the Facebook plan, it, in a way, they're stopping the capability of being an informed person in this country by not having neutrality on the internet. You know, because you're going to be fettered in the amount that you could use, and then past that point, now it's a financial thing that only the people who can financially afford to use the internet past that point can be as informed as a person as other people. And then I'm sure they'll say, well, not everybody could afford newspapers, not everybody could afford, you know, magazines and stuff. But the internet was an invention that was given away, gifted to humanity. It wasn't like a privately owned technology. It was a technology that was created and gifted. you
Yeah.
know, a lot of the lines that the ISPs use are especially the telephone poles that they use were owned by the public, and you know, kind of in a way rented out to the companies to build their telephone lines on and everything. So even the infrastructure that was there from years ago, and granted, yeah, most of it's probably been updated and fixed and everything since then, you know, and out of their own pockets, you know, but like all these things, the birth of them were birthed in a much more uh people centered mentality and not a private center mentality.
Yeah.
So, you know, in thinking of it, it's like, wow, what's going to happen to the information side of humanity? Whereas right now we're in one of the largest growth, uh, you know, parts of
Yeah.
humanity so far. Like in our history, we're in one of the largest, like, awakenings of information, which is why, like, a lot of people are so shocked by a lot of, like, the things that happen on like social media and stuff. It's really humanity getting used to sharing information at such a rapid and capable rate of speed, you know, that it's like, that's why everything's so shocking. That's why everything's like, what, this happened, oh my goodness. Is because the world is growing at such a rapid rate information wise that like nobody is used to it. So humans are more apt to go into shock than they are into like calm understanding, you know. So with this internet changing, it could halt one of the great awakenings of humanity that could happen. It could halt the possible information renaissance that could be coming in the future, you know. What if you never had to go to school again because schools are all on the internet, and you know, with VR goggles you can be in a classroom at home,
Well,
you know.
that's the thing, and then you have to look at, well, now being able to take college courses online are starting to become more of a thing.
Yeah.
Like there's mixed uh hold on, trying to think of not tuition, but like mixed attendance. Like some classes, you know, you may have to go to a lecture hall, you know, once a week, and then the rest of, you know, the other class is online, is 100% online. Like so it's like at that point you're then hindering students from learning if they can't afford to buy the package or the amount of internet they need to be able to watch their lectures and turn in their papers and stuff.
I mean, are they going to have to take student loans just to afford the internet and school?
And then like you said, you know, the information age. Okay, well, if somebody has Facebook and, you know, they don't have the news package, so they can't get MSNBC or CNN or Fox or whatever news outlet you prefer.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, I have Facebook because, you know, my family's on it and I want to keep up with family. Okay, well then your information, your news source is going to come from Facebook. And we all know in the past,
Yeah.
you know, year and a half or so, 2 years, 2 or 3 years, I guess now, of the rise of how many fake or misleading news articles there have been on Facebook.
Well, also Facebook's not, I mean, no matter what they want to say, they're not a news organization.
Exactly.
Like, you know, even news organizations these days, we keep hearing fake news this, fake news that. I mean, they're messing up sometimes, you know,
Yeah.
in their own, and they are kind of biased, but, you know, a news organization exists because they're a news organization. You expect
Yeah.
news from them. You know you're going to get news from them, whether it be right or wrong. But Facebook exists for you to connect with people,
Yeah.
not to get your
unfortunately-
news. Like,
Yeah. So unfortunately, you're gonna be getting your news from people that are posting the stories, and it's like, well, okay, so you have the Facebook, you don't have the news thing, so you can't. And depending on what other packages or whatever you may have, you may not be able to fact check what you're hearing. So it's like, well, okay, unfortunately, you either believe it or you're going to have to take on faith that this is an accurate story.
mm-hmm.
So then, like you said, you're getting into the not only the stunt of the growth of information, but then you're getting into the misleading of information.
Mm-hmm.
And
You know what I
so-
just realized?
Mm.
Just realized that maybe, like earlier we were talking about what's the future of Twitch.
Mhm.
And, in going through this journey of the ISPs and everything, maybe the future of Twitch is IRL. Maybe instead of getting your news on what politicians are doing, you go to twitch.tv/Senate, and it's just a live stream sitting there of the Senate, getting together, voting, talking,
Yeah,
and everything.
just,
Then
that's what.
yeah, like kind of like C-SPAN, but more of
Yeah.
a Twitch style where it's like it's never gonna have anyone talking on it. It's an always on.
You can talk to people in chat.
Yeah, in chat. Yeah, that's how you like kind of converse with people is in the chat, and it's just live stream. So you get your White House live stream, your municipal live stream of a random street somewhere. Like, and what if that just kept on growing? That all the live streams exist on a platform, and that's where you get your information. Like, I wonder if all the news programs will eventually bury themselves in enough of a hole that people are like, I don't want an opinion. I don't want someone telling me about something. I want to see it. I want to see a live stream of it. Now, what could stop that? Loss of net neutrality.
Yeah. So I mean, now granted, like I said, like all of these are very hypothetical things.
Yeah.
of How it very well may not be that way. Like the ISPs could start changing things, and everybody could be like, "Whoa, hold up."
Yeah. Hopefully.
No. And it's like, and what would be smart is what Google is doing. Google is for net neutrality.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like if the ISPs change and Google's like, hey, look at us. We still have net neutrality over here. We're not regulating anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see a flood of people going to like Google Fiber.
Mm-hmm. Well, they did
And-
stop their progression of Google Fiber, but I could definitely see it reopening up the capability for them.
Which sucks because I wish that Google Fiber made its way out here.
Yeah.
But
I think
it's
they
like-
said, I think they're keeping Google Fiber where they already installed it, like the people
Mhm.
who already are signed up, like in Texas and I think in Washington.
Mhm.
But yeah, they're not expanding it. But I that's a good point there. That with this happening, because Google already was, giving the plan of Google Fiber for extra cheap than what equivalents are charging, and it was legitimate fiber. Like, it was fiber that you're getting the max speed, that 600 up, 600 down, continuous. Whereas other fibers, like my fiber, it's not, a gigabit down and up. It's like it ranges from like 500, 400 up to like 800 something, but it'll never hit a gigabit because it's not real, fiber optic. It's fiber optic insofar as out to the pole and out of a hop, and then it changes back. Like they have to use like signal boosters because not the whole network isn't fully fiber yet. I think that could be really interesting. I think so maybe in a way, I mean, when you think about it that way, maybe the loss of net neutrality can cause net neutrality, insofar as, but it would have to be from someone like Google. Like this wouldn't be able to be, Joe Schmo company from like the middle of Idaho that started up, with morals and stuff,
Yeah, it would have to be from a company that is on equal footing to the current ISPs.
I wonder if even Amazon. I mean, Amazon has the most servers in the world.
Yeah, like Amazon could very well pop up and be like, all right, we are now offering internet.
Yeah. Jeffrey
have
Bezos
Amazon
out there, man. Yeah, if you got Amazon Prime. Jeffrey Bezos out there, if you're listening, man, maybe
There
get
you
on
go.
that internet game.
Get on,
All right, though. we've been talking for over 3 hours,
Oof.
man.
Oof.
Golly. I think that's
Right.
a good place to end it there.
I think so.
Golly, I'm trying to think of anything else. I mean, this is the first podcast ever. I think it was a good podcast. Did you have fun on
I
it?
think so. Yeah, I definitely enjoy the just sitting back and kind of wherever the conversation goes is wherever it goes, kind of thing.
Nice.
So
Nice.
I like it.
I it was a lot of fun, man. This is definitely this was neat. I really enjoyed the conversation. I appreciate it. You know, this is our first podcast here, and BeardedCorvus was nice enough to give a chance on good old Fealty Gaming here and say, hey, you know what? I'll get on and have a conversation with you, and chat with you, and do a thing. You know, I really appreciate
you doing this and having me out here. So it's definitely fun. It was good.
Nice, man. Nice, man. All right, though. Anybody watching, if you're there, if you're still there, thank you all for hanging out with us. Oh, we got Gibby in the chat. Gibby7880. You will always be in this recording right now because you're right there, man. Thank you so much, everybody, for supporting and viewing and watching and all that stuff. We'll be back on Monday. Definitely go by Bearded's channel here. Let me do the promo out there again. Hit that channel right there. Hit the follow button. If you have Twitch Prime, hit the sub button. You know, it's free for you, just saying, and it helps us streamers out a whole bunch.
It does.
You know, if you're a streamer, hit the auto host button on his channel as well as mine. Thank you for those hosts. Thank you, everybody who hosted this. But all right, though, you all have a good night. Thank you so much for hanging out. I'm going to switch to my offline stream for like 20 seconds there. So that, that's a wrong layout. Golly gosh, we have to end the stream with one mess up. I'm going to do that every podcast whenever we do this. Night, everybody. I'm going to leave on that powering down channel there. Night, night. Night, night. Golly gosh. And hitting stop streaming.